How about now? Oh dear. No? Okay, well. Oh yeah? Oh, okay, cool, cool. We got it. Weird. I don't know what that was. But hey, notepad worked. Okay, cool. Yeah, so strange. Nothing has changed on my side in terms of like the levels. The microphone levels are still bouncing up and down like they were before. But I did make an adjustment to something, so obviously that worked. Anyway, all good. Okay, so just that was a bit strange. What a way to open up the stream. Man, I have such a long history with audio problems. I'm going to give you guys a little story. I used to work for Creative Assembly, and I used to do marketing, and they were announcing Total War Warhammer 2. And it was my bright idea to host a stream, a countdown stream leading up to it. I was like, it'll be great. You know, we'll stream on YouTube, we'll stream on Twitch. We've never done that before, especially on YouTube. And we'll have a big countdown to the announcement of our next Total War game. It's going to be great. I couldn't believe they hadn't been doing this before. So it fell to me. So I decided to, I had to run the stream on my computer that I was like working on in the studio. They have a dedicated stream room, but because of office politics, someone else wanted to use it or whatever, so I had to run the stream from my own computer, which is like, okay, I was going to stream for a couple hours beforehand. But then, again, because of office politics, it ended up, you know, too many... What is the word? Too many chefs spoiled the broth or whatever. Too many cooks in the kitchen. What ended up happening was they were like, okay, yeah, we'll run it for 48 hours, just a real big build up. And I was like, I don't know about that. It seems like quite a long build up, but whatever. I was just trying to get one of my ideas through. So it's like, okay, fine. So I ended up having to run a stream on my own local office computer while editing videos for them, because that's what I did. Of this countdown, so I had to be really careful not to show anything. I was working on videos for this game that hadn't even been announced yet. Love watching those trucks. Anyways, long story short, very similar to this stream right here, once it started, the audio levels were totally fine, but about 10-20 seconds in, the chat explodes with can't hear anything, can't hear anything, can't hear anything. Oh my god, my heart sank. I was so devastated. Because the stream up until that point was totally fine. They could hear the countdown music and everything. They just couldn't hear the actual trailer once it came time to play the trailer. And basically, I think what happened is because I was running the stream for 48 hours, going in and out of programs like Premiere Pro and a few other things that would initialize and uninitialize audio, OBS was reading it as like, yeah, the audio's there, but we're picking it up, but it just wasn't being transmitted out. So I remember I had to just quickly kill the stream and put the video live. It was a bit of a nightmare. I was actually nobody cared at the studio. Everyone was really nice, but I was so personally mortified that I was considering quitting or, you know, handing in my resignation because I took it very seriously. Anyways, so here we are. So I got the audio working. Only left ear. Oh my god. What's going on now? Why the hell would that be? Only left ear. What about now? Is it in both ears? I hope that now it's in both ears. Same only left ear? Oh my god. I don't have any idea why that would be. It worked? Perfect? Okay, we got it then. We got it. Nice. Thank you. That one was an easy fix. That was just while I was trying to fix the settings initially, I turned mono onto stereo, and the microphone is actually slightly to the left of my face, so I think you're actually just, you know, it's just picking it up based on the direction it is. But I flipped it to mono, so just double it. Anyway, right. Audio. It's done. Anyway, so what we're doing today, as the thumbnail might suggest, is that we're destroying or tearing down this factory. This is my parts factory. So a normal episode is still coming on Sunday, hopefully, as long as I can get recording it and doing it tomorrow. But I realized that before doing that, you know, what I want to do is start making stators, automated wiring, adaptive control units, and versatile framework, right? So those are 3 components needed in the space elevator, and in order to start making stators, well, it's a long story short. I'm trying to think of a way to summarize it, but basically, there's not really any need for this parts factory anymore. This was here to make heavy modular frames, which we just started making in the last episode, as well as computers. It was supposed to be making supercomputers, but it was doing it in very low volume. It's made a few, so I could probably just, you know... It's got 9. Oh, actually, I've got about 30, I think, somewhere else. So it's probably enough. I don't really need them. It's only if I ever set up a programmable splitter. But that's okay. The high-speed connectors... Yep, there's like thousands in there, so don't have to worry about that. Then there's crystal oscillators. I've got several hundred on me. I think there's like 1,000 in a container. There's a couple hundred there. There's then motors, which are full, and then there's stators. Okay, so technically I'm making stators just in extremely low volume. Yeah, 0.25 per minute. And there's 930 there, so you can do the math on how long that's taken, but it's just obviously built up in the background. So I want to make stators on my own. That's going to require, if we have a look at the recipe, it's going to require regular wire or quick wire mixed with steel pipes. Those are the only 2 recipes for stators. So I've got a copper Caterium factory, obviously doing wire and quick wire, next to, near enough anyway, to the factory that does steel pipes. So I'm going to merge them and make stators over in the new build that I've been working on, right, for a while. That's totally fine for that. So why do we need that? Well, it's because we need versatile automated wiring. And automated wiring can then take the stator and mix it with cable. Again, next to the copper Caterium factory, that's where we have cable, we have quick wire, we have regular wire, so that can all kind of be bundled in together, which is great. So, versatile framework is another one, and that needs to be made in quite a high quantity, 2,500 I think. So, I think I've made like 50 or something so far, but 2,500 is needed for this. Now, it needs modular frames and steel beams. Now, I've actually just consumed all of my steel beams that we made recently in the latest factory. The silicon factory, couldn't remember the name there. So we're going to be using the leftover components that I had originally. So if you remember, there is a steel factory right there. It does steel in quite low volume. It might be something like 20 per minute. I can't even remember. I'd have to open up my statistics or whatever. So we're going to take the steel from there, which is currently coming into here, but it doesn't really need to anymore. And we're going to take the modular frames, which I make 6.66 per minute, which is also coming in here. Again, which I don't need anymore. And we're going to mix them to make versatile framework. So I don't really need to do that in today's episode, but the point is, a lot of these extra things are arriving to this factory here, in this big kind of truck warehouse. And they're going upstairs into a series of manufacturers just to make 5 or so components that I no longer really need, because I have heavy modular frames now, I have circuit boards, I have computers, and I've got plenty of the other things that I don't need this place to be running anymore. This was the only factory I built, which I said was going to be temporary, so we're going to remove it. Now, the idea behind removing it is actually keeping the floor in place, but removing everything else. So that's basically what we're going to do. We're going to hang out, chat, and just tear the place down, and try to store up all the trucks somewhere. Trucks can behave pretty weirdly when you take them off their routes. So it's best to just delete them. But they're full of stuff right now, which is going to be a bit complicated. So that'll be a fun challenge. So let's get started. I might as well just put down some crates and then start taking the routes. Yeah, the trucks off their routes. Let the machines keep working all the way up until the end, I guess. So that's the plan. There we go. How's it going? How have you come across this issue? Unreal Engine object limits? If so, how'd you solve it? I haven't ever come across that issue because you need to build an extraordinary amount of things in the game to hit that. So I've never done that. I don't think there is a way around it, as far as I know. I've watched some videos about it. They recently increased the limit with update 8, like by a lot. Because they didn't necessarily increase the limit. They actually lowered the amount of objects in a given object. So, you know, one foundation isn't just one object. Because we're talking Unreal objects, right? It's called a .u object, as you mentioned. So that's a U object limit. So an object would be, this could be maybe 3 objects. I don't know, you know, it depends how they did the game or whatever. But this could be maybe 3 objects as one. And I know that in update 8, they changed it from like 5 down to 3. You know, so they kind of lowered it, optimized it, I guess is a better word. But I don't, you can't get past that limit because it's just it's an engine limit. And it's not their engine, it's Unreal. Quite funny, actually. I'm working in Unreal and learning it myself at the moment, so it's kind of relevant, I guess. But you do need, like someone said, 2.5 million, I think. Yeah, something crazy in terms of objects. All right, so just getting comfy. let's get some containers down and just... We're going to need a lot just to store up a lot of the crap. And probably a lot of awesome sinks just running. In fact, tell you what, just even temporarily, we'll just build this out. Put some awesome sinks out here. So that we can just constantly get rid of the things that we're going to be emptying this factory out. So, again, for anyone just joining, we're demolishing a factory. So a lot of components are going to be filling up my inventory. Don't want to leave crates everywhere. You know, those crates that spawn. Hate that. Instead, what I'd much rather do is recycle, I suppose. Recycle as much of it as we can. Yeah, sure, why not just go here? And I'll just get rid of this area when we're done. This is just temporary recycling, I guess. Alright, cool. So there's one. Whatever, it doesn't have to be super organized, I guess, actually. Just whatever. It just has to be crates that go in there. I'd have to just jump down and connect this inside somewhere very lazily. There we go. Alright, so we've hooked up 4 assemblers, or awesome sinks. And we can just get rid of stuff and send it in there when we need to. I'll just also set up some containers for my own inventory that I want to keep. Alright, let's get dismantling. Hello, Gita, or Gita. I've saved file that might be corrupted then, because I get it all the time. And you haven't hit that limit? You haven't built 2.5 million objects, you think? Or, you know, like, is it a huge save file with lots of stuff in it? How many megabytes is the save file? That can usually kind of give you an indication. I think if you're around 20 megabytes, you're probably at the object limit, something like that, from what I've heard. iOpal says there's a tutorial on Satisfactory fandom site about the object limit change. Hey, says Jerry, I've been really enjoying your series and I've been following along pretty closely to your builds. It's my first time playing Satisfactory and I'm loving it. I'm on your Copper Cat Factory build. So just, you know, I can only apologize. Yeah, some people have been joining my Discord lately and saying like they've started off, and I keep warning them, maybe just skip the Copper Caterium build until you can power it on. So I can't remember exactly the order of episodes at the moment, but I remember saying like you could skip the Copper Caterium build, go straight ahead to the Quartz, go do the Turbo Fuel, maybe the Biofuel Factory, just a few of those ones that are kind of the Iron Factory. These are like standalone factories, and once you get Turbo Fuel up and running, then you could go back and go like, okay, now we can actually power on parts of the Copper Caterium Factory, because that's the inelegance of my playlist, I guess, this time around, was that became such a big build that it couldn't really be powered on. So it might be best just keeping your copper running where it was initially, making a few sheets for pipes and things like that, making a bit of wire. That's all cool. And then when you get the power actually set up and you have blueprints more built and things like that, maybe you're a bit better at the game, you could take on a bigger build like that. Probably would make more sense. Right, so one of the things I want to do is stop all these trucks and then basically decommission them. It would be nice to kind of just park them all up somewhere, but I suppose we could just delete them. And that just removes the problem. But, oh yeah, what I wanted to do was hop into them and actually remove the path that they're assigned to. So this would be PF02 steel pipes, delete that. And then disable autopilot, I guess, and then you just delete the thing. Now this is full again. I'm going to be filling up so much here. This might get a bit tedious. We got to run back and forth to those containers. Not everything is going to be super full all the time, but it's kind of the way we got to do it. Certain containers might be worth keeping, like things for... No, because I make this stuff now, don't I? Yeah, I have enough in case industrial... We have a whole factory doing it now. So, in you go. Alright, that's one. There's like 14 of these to do, and then we tear down the top floor. But we might as well let the machines drain as much of the stuff out of here as possible. So this one's also full. So yeah, we'll just get rid of all those pipes. Remove that. Gone now. Want to delete this route as well. So many routes to go. It had 1700 modular frames in it, and this is basically full. I suppose I'll just probably run around to these crates then and clear them out. This guy's done as well. He actually doesn't have anything in him. Cruise. Alright, make a trip. Might as well fill up the 4 containers and then, yeah, then we can leave some crates until later if we need to. I had that issue, but it was using Vulkan instead of DirectX 12. Oh, okay, and yeah, about 18 megabytes. Yeah, it's a pretty full save then, possibly. So you might have just hit the limit of the game. This is one of the things people were worried about when I'm playing, because they say like, you know, I use a lot of double foundation, so I'll put a 1 and then a 1 on top of it. And people are like, dude, you're gonna hit that object limit. And I never have, but granted, I'm still really early in the game, or not early, I'm only midway through the game. So if I started to hit that limit, what I would probably do is just go in and remove all the barriers and stuff. Things that have a lot of polygons typically might be, well, actually it's not really polygonal based, but things that look like they might have several components to them. So this looks to me like it probably has a component on the bottom, then it probably has the mid components, and then, you know, it's probably made up of more objects than a foundation, for instance. So it's like, yeah, just get rid of all these, get rid of all those. That's if I got desperate. I hope that I don't ever hit that problem, but it's a known thing. I want to get this game so bad. It was on sale just recently, and it's only just gone up in price. I suppose that's bad news for you now to tell you that, but yeah. It was at its lowest price it probably ever will be just recently. And now it's only going to get more expensive as they reach 1.0. Hope you're able to get it, though, because it's great. How do you stop yourself from getting stuck and keep going? I constantly struggle from hating what I've done and restarting my game. Yeah, I don't know, that's a tough one. So I did one series before this. So my full history with this game is, I played it when Update 3 came out, so quite a long time ago now, a couple of years. And Update 3, I kind of hit a wall of understanding. I got to trains and I was like, oh, it's getting a bit complicated now, I'll leave it. And I just never went back to it. But I really liked it. So eventually then I did go back, and I decided, like, okay, if I do a YouTube series, it'll make me stick with it. And for the most part it did. Hit delete that path. For the most part it did, but then eventually I also got kind of burnt out of that save, because the build started getting so large. It made it feel like progress is very slow. But I felt like there was a few things slowing me down. One, I was really obsessed with how builds looked. Like, I think the builds in this series that I've done so far, this particular one, they're okay. They're fine. They're totally standard. They're not that special. The game does a lot of the heavy lifting with the lighting and stuff to make things look better. But really, I'm just building giant rectangles everywhere. It's not that crazy. In the old series, got a lot more creative. Not to the extreme some other people do, but still a little bit more creative than what you're seeing here. And would spend a long time doing pillars and more complicated cosmetics and trying to angle things and make circles and all these random things like that. And I found that had slowed me down a lot. So you kind of just have to either make do with a more basic style. At least in my experience, you know, I'm in this series, I've gone with rectangles, boxes, rectangles, nothing too complicated, but still trying to make it look like, hey, it's a factory of some sort. You know, like a Tesla automated factory, that is just a giant rectangle. They don't have to be these crazy sci-fi art pieces, even though that's nice, but it's hard to justify doing that when you're trying to just make products or whatever, and it has nothing to do with the game, and no improvement to anything if you add lighting, for instance. There's just nothing changes. So anyway, yeah, how do you get burnt out? For me, I try not to be over ambitious with the aesthetics, just try to be functional. And then also, I keep a log of everything I do. So this was a bit of extra effort, but it's, to be fair, quite satisfying. I'll show you guys really quickly. Some of you have seen it, right? The Milanote program is where I kind of track my builds. I was doing this just more for the YouTube series again, but I think even now, if I was playing the game on my own, if you could be diligent enough to go like, I'm going to open up Google Docs or something, you know, on the side, and just keep track of what I make and how it's made, then when at least when you revisit a factory to change it, it's not nearly as daunting, you know? So there's two things here. Number one is I started also designing factories in this playthrough to last a really long time. So when I did a coal power plant, yeah, the flashbang, it's not just 10 generators, whatever. It was built with the idea of a full upgraded Mark V, all the best technology. Like, it was just built from the beginning to have that. So where is it? The Blue Crater coal plant. So let's see, one of these, there we go. This would be like, this is duplicated 4 times over, but this would be 1/4 of the factory. So it's like, okay, so a miner could potentially have 600 you know, coal coming out of it. The water extractors could have 600 as well in the future, and so on and so forth, right? So then you build it to that spec, and you build it to that design, that input, and then when you have to go upgrade the factory, it's really easy, and it saves you a lot of time in later on. Because I found what was happening for me in my first and second playthrough. I was like, okay, cool, we're gonna make 20 computers a minute, and then, like, I don't know, as quick as 10 or 15 hours later, you'd be like, now I need 40 computers a minute, and I need to either, there's not enough space in this factory now, or, you know, I have to now just build another one, or whatever. But if you try to overbuild to scale, and then you can just turn on machines and add machines within it, that saves you a lot of time, and it saves you the headache of having to rethink these things as well. So that's also been a nice way to cut down on what you do. Anyway, I was just answering the question for those who just joined of how do you prevent yourself getting burnt out. So to summarize that, for me, at least in this playthrough, I've gone with a more simple aesthetic style, right? Just largely rectangles and boxes. Because some people are like, oh, I'd like to see you really design something nice and aesthetic. But unfortunately, at least on YouTube, it just doesn't view that well to do that. I would have thought it would. But if you look at some of the guys that are crazy good at this stuff, like Fluxo or Create-In, and damn, there's another one I can't really think of. They make the most beautiful looking factories ever. Stin Archie, that's it. They make the most beautiful looking factories ever. They don't get many views though. And it could be because it takes so long that they're not very regular on YouTube as well. I think what most people really want out of a Satisfactory series is to see the extremes. You look at someone like Let's Game It Out. It's like, you know, when you look at factory content on YouTube and things like that, it's like, I built the craziest base using all the material in the world. You know, it's like millions of views. So it's hard. I'm trying to go for a balance, obviously, of just, it's a playthrough. I'm not one of these massive YouTubers that does these crazy things. It's just a playthrough. I'm trying to help people along, and also give out my blueprints and the save files and all of that. But also trying to somewhat keep it moving, keep it entertaining, and try to build something that looks decent, while also being efficient. So, you know, I'm trying to thread the needle between everything. Hey, Sam. Anyways, so I just want to see how are we doing for all these. Okay, we've already emptied out 2. Wow, that was pretty quick, actually. Alright, so basically what we're doing, it's kind of boring, to be fair. But, you know, we're here for the chats. And sorry if I missed any questions. I'll get to them in just a sec. But, I'm basically destroying this factory and removing all the trucks inside of it. So there's 14 in total trucks. There's a lot to remove. It can take a bit of time doing this. But the trucks that are empty already, it goes way quicker, which is good. So disable autopilot. And I want to delete the routes as well. I just don't want to have unnecessarily padded list of routes that we'll never use again. Delete those routes. We hop out and we delete the car. All right, let me just catch what I just missed. You can increase the object limit, says QV. Yeah, I guess then maybe Google it, because I don't know the answer to how do you do that. What's your favorite Satisfactory creator? I've just started playing and I'm watching you and Scalty. I gotta be honest, as a creator myself, I don't really watch others, just because who the hell would have the time for that? You know, you're making content that takes, in a game that takes hours. Last thing I'm gonna do is then go home. I say go home, obviously I work from home. You know, I'm gonna go into the living room, turn on a video about Satisfactory. So I genuinely can't say that I watch any of them. Kibitz, Kibitz is the one that used to show up a lot for me. I think he actually just started a series again. A little bit too high energy for me, in my opinion. I like the process more than the result. He's more about the result and how he, you know, just briefly describing how he did it. Stin Archie, again, just for someone who makes amazing builds. Like, visually, I'll check out every now and then a YouTuber, especially because in my Discord they'll get posted and things. And it's like, wow, I didn't even know you could kind of do that, you know? There's also, I think it's called Game Riot or Game Rant, one of the others, Game Riot or Game Rant, but it almost has like a Korean name when you look at it on YouTube, like Korean symbols or something. Anyway, they're a YouTuber that just also makes some of the most crazy looking things. They made a nuclear base that's built into a waterfall or something. It looked incredible. So those ones stand out to me every now and then, but in terms of actual playthroughs, I'm not really sure. I'm demolishing the parts factory. It's the factory that was when I was building the turbo fuel factory, right? To make fuel generators, I needed 150, and they needed computers. So an easy way to, instead of handcrafting computers at that stage, I built this place, which is a factory that just has 14 truck stations. Trucks come in here and deliver things, and we make in very low volume, but at least we automate it. Some computers, some supercomputers, high-speed connectors, heavy modular frames, crystal oscillators, motors, and stators. So that's everything that this place makes, but it's like literally like 0.5 a minute, you know? But the point was, oh, while I'm up there building, I'll come back down every 30 minutes or every hour and collect some material that allows me to build these generators. So, and it worked. It was great. It's kind of carried me through for a little while, but it was always meant to be temporary. So we're tearing it down now. The floor can stay in place because I'll probably build something else here, but the roof above me and everything, that's all going to go. So because it was a truck station, it's obviously full of trucks and they all have their own routes and stuff. So what I'm doing is taking everything out of these, bringing them over to a little area that I just made over there that has awesome sinks, dumping that stuff so we can at least get tickets for it. And I need to pick up some more biofuel because I can't jetpack at the moment. And yeah, we're just emptying out the bottom floor, letting the machines keep cooking until they're completely done, and then we'll empty out those ones, saving some of the higher end materials that I don't currently make. Alright, that's fine by me. Let me just pick up some of that liquid biofuel. There we go. I can move around a bit quicker now. Alright. Fair enough, makes sense. I'm learning, so watching everyone at the moment. Yeah, no, totally. Yeah. If I had any better suggestions for you, I'd let you know. Total X Clips has loads of guides, so he might be one for guides as well. Yeah, I think he did a playthrough before. Again, I don't know. Oh yeah, and I'm pretty sure fixed the channel membership problem that we had before. Whoa, my god, I got run over. It's Terry. He's back for revenge. I'm gonna take my trucks away. That's the one doing petroleum coke. Thinking of using smart splitters when I overbuild, so that I just need to upgrade the belts and miners and the factory will scale. That's the way to do it. Definitely, yeah. Yep. I'm a little bit skilled in Satisfactory, but I'm doing Coke Factory and I'm enjoying it. Nice. The Coke Factory I think is a really good one because it really helps you out. Hey, Sarah, appreciate that. Shout out. Gifted a membership. And it went to Gita Kubova. Shout out to Sarah. That is my brother's fiance. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I don't know. Alright, wow, this is actually draining things faster than I thought it would. Because it is 480 per minute, so it's only like 4 stacks a minute, but yeah, going by pretty quick. I wonder if they can find an alternative to all the little crates that get created when you destroy things and your inventory's full. No idea though. Maybe a secondary temporary inventory. This would probably be annoying, but maybe it could be an option. If you go into your options, select gameplay, perhaps, maybe you could say that crates go back to the hub and just appear there. It might be nice. But at the same time, I could see that being annoying if you had that option set and I don't know, you deleted a machine, you wanted the components of that machine. Let's say I deleted a truck because I wanted to just rebuild it for some reason, you know? Sometimes that happens. It's like, okay, I'm going to build one of these over here. So I'll just delete it and then put it down somewhere else on a floor below, whatever the case might be. But if the crate teleported back to the hub, it'd be like, oh, I didn't mean for a crate to appear and now I don't have the components. So I could see it being a double-edged sword. But maybe as an option you could toggle on and off, it would be nice. Alright, which one can we delete? This one, petroleum coke. Whoops. I just reloaded the same path. That's another habit I got into, which is naming the routes. Like, having an abbreviation for every factory seems like a good idea, so typically I go with 3 letters. With the Coke factory, I didn't want it to say COK. I added Coke. CKE maybe would have been better. But, yeah, SIL for silicon, TFF, turbo fuel, PF, parts factory, CCF. I guess F is kind of redundant, seeing as everything's a factory, but all good. Copper Caterium factory. Alright, we're full up again. Been loving the building alongside the videos. Got me hooked into Satisfactory. Thanks, Michael. Glad it's going well for you. Hope it's going well for you. Am I in the Steam? I'm on the Steam version. Is it better to get Steam or Epic? Oops. I have both, actually. Yeah, Steam is just better overall. There's no difference in the versions, but I mean, Steam is such a better storefront with much more opportunities for things, integrations and stuff. I would just go Steam. I suppose if you're a freak who has everything on Epic, doesn't have a Steam account, it's like, well, I guess stay where you are. But for the most part, Steam is like, I'd say 50 times better than Epic in terms of just a product. Sadie says hi. That's cute. I was gonna say, tell her I say hi back. Yeah, shout out to Sadie. I'll have her playing games in no time. That's one of the things I've been thinking of. If I ever have a kid, playing games with them. If I have a kid and they're just like really not into games and they love football or something, I'm just gonna kill myself. Joke. I joke. I would scold the kid until they do what I want. Alright, we're almost done. Not many left to go. I'm coming all the way from the quartz factory. Super far away. Alright. Have we been picking up those crates as well? I did actually, yeah, cool. This one needs sorting out as well. Disable autopilot, load, remove, rotors, delete. Yeah, rotors are what we're going to need. One thing I actually don't make is a motor factory, or make is motors. We just automated them over there, so I feel like I'd need to do a whole factory for that. Alright. 1 or 2 more runs. Or be like me and be into both, Darren. It's okay. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, if you're into both, obviously it's cool. I guess I just assumed they'd be like me, where it's like all or nothing on one thing. Because then it's like, oh, I'd have nothing to relate to them with. If they don't know or care about games, I have literally nothing else to go by. So they should change their personality to fit me, obviously. And that, frankly, goes for everybody. There's nothing more disheartening when you go to like a wedding of a family member or something and sit down at a table, you don't know them, and they're just like, I just have nothing to say to them. Because they're just like, oh, so who do you support? I'm like, sorry, I'm a nerd. Like, I just don't watch football or anything. And they're like, oh, okay. And then just silence. It's like, it's like, so what game do you play? But I'm the weird one for asking that question, because that's not normal. Whereas asking, like, who do you watch is more normal, I guess. I read that already, Gita. I'm a little bit skilled in Satisfactory, but I'm doing the Coke Factory and I'm enjoying it. I read that out when you said it earlier. But that's good, though. Good that you're enjoying it. And that Coke Factory is a good one to learn a lot, I think, actually. Feel like, after about episode 10 or whatever in this series, I actually got... I don't need to do that. I got better at actually explaining some of the more difficult mechanics, like fluids and stuff. That is... it's done now. There might be some trucks still out and about. One seems to be coming in right now. That could be the coal delivery, actually. This one refuels all the other ones, I think. Yeah. Let's disable that and turn that off. Alright. You did good. Alright, that might be the last one. There might be 1 or 2 out there that I didn't catch just yet, but we can start dismantling all the stuff in here. We're gonna get our first Fisher-Price game controller. And I said, oh, cool, can't wait to try that. Oh, because... Oh, yeah. Oh, interesting. I'll get her a PlayStation. Don't get her an Xbox. That's the only thing I ask. Never ever get her an Xbox. Long story. Just don't. Alright. Kind of just have to wait for... Maybe I can make another one of these. So I need steel and pipes. Might just make 1 or 2 more of those. And then we can start the actual dismantling process. And then I'll catch people up on what I'm doing, for anyone's wondering. Alright. Autosave. Alright, I'm a PlayStation person. Good. Nice. Hey, Created Discoveries, he said, Darren, finally caught a stream. Keep up the amazing work. Appreciate that. Thank you. I use Steam, but the one thing I don't like about it is their total lack of standards with curation. It kind of makes it a shady flea market of gaming. Yeah, there's actually a relatively big debate about that going on in the gaming space at the moment about whether or not you should just open your storefront to allow everything on it, or, which is what Steam is. Steam is like, I think Colin Moriarty says it's like the ultimate libertarian marketplace. Just like anything goes, and they just give users the tools to figure out what's good and what isn't. So, in one hand, I agree, Steam allowing absolutely anything on it, and some of the stuff is heinous, to be fair. Absolutely heinous. I do generally, though, think their discovery tools are actually quite good. And also, if you end up making a purchase choice that isn't very good, you can refund it. You know, their refund policy is really great. So I kind of feel like I can't really argue too much with them when it's not like I've really ever gotten tripped up by this. You know, I never bought a game and I was like, this wasn't what I saw on the Steam page, and I've wasted money on it. You know, if that, the rare time that I get something that I'm not fully happy with, you could just refund it. So, and the 2-hour limit's not really the limit. You can go higher than that. They've gone way higher than that. So, hard to really... But I think maybe just looking through the new releases, Discovery can be quite bad there, so it's obviously not perfect. So yeah, definitely could be improved. All this stuff. Alright, cool. Alright, so what's going on here is we have just 4 awesome sinks. These are just basically like big recyclers. So I'm destroying this factory. It was always temporary, so it's time to tear it down while I'm working on other things. Because a lot of the stuff that it was making, I now make properly on a bigger scale. So yeah, so I'm going to tear it down, and then just so that I'm not wasting the materials, I'm sending it into these awesome sinks, and they generate tickets for us. So we've got 236 right now, so that's kind of nice. But yeah, we're going to go floor by floor. So I'll start with the top floor. I'll start cutting it off. And then I sort of have to just empty out a lot of the machines again at the bottom. But I'm going to start with the walls and stuff before. The machines I'll do last, because they're still making things. So I might as well just do that last. So, it's basically a just chatting stream while we're watching things get deleted in the background. Why not both outputs to see sinks per crate? Laziness, I guess. Laziness. Hell yeah, never catch you live. Yeah, I don't really stream very much, and I stream very irregularly, if I do. So I didn't even know I was streaming until I just sat down today. I was working out, like, what am I going to do for the next video? And what needs to be done to get the next video ready? And I realized that this factory is kind of consuming things that it no longer needs to, and I need to make some components that are going into here. So in order to get those components out of here and stop them from going in here, just felt like it was time to destroy the whole factory, really. And I was like, I could just do this for several hours with a podcast on in the background, but why not chat with everyone else? Why deleting? I've already explained that several times now, so I'm just not going to repeat it for a little while anyway. Not everything was built using blueprints, that's why. The roof tiles were, but down here they weren't, so... I usually do make walls and everything with blueprints, but this factory I didn't. Can't remember why, to be honest. Don't know. And if I remember correctly, even this can't be... Oh no, it can. Cool. See, if you place down blueprints and then change the material, you can't remove it then. So I was worried that maybe I did that already. But I'll blueprint dismantle things like the lights and stuff, you know? Anywhere I can, I'll do it. You can also, by the way, for people who are ever wondering how to dismantle factories that are huge, maybe they want to for some reason, or perhaps maybe you load one of my saves and you want to get rid of something you didn't like, you can go to satisfactorycalculator.com and load your save, and then just draw a big box over the stuff you don't want and just delete it. And it'll actually get put in a little container for you. So it's a very handy way of mass dismantling something. How's the health? Yeah, so far so good. Again, actually I went and got a chest x-ray today. So it's still ongoing. That's one of the reasons I haven't talked too much about it, is just because since I initially talked about it, was because there's not much has changed. They're still figuring things out. So there's a couple things that have been found. I have something called mitral regurgitation, which is basically a valve in my heart is slightly allowing blood back in instead of out. Only very, they said trace amounts. It's like supposedly it's supposedly for forms of heart disease extremely common, and it's supposedly very small, but that is still being investigated and looked into, so I need to speak with like a cardiologist about it. But it's not like time sensitive or anything, so I think doctor said in like a couple weeks I'll be talked to about that. But yeah, apart from that, there's some stuff on my lungs, so I'm getting x-rays to check it out, all this kind of stuff. So it's all just like, well, I don't know anything, so I don't want to, you know, overthink it until we actually know for sure about certain things. But generally speaking, I'm feeling totally fine now at the moment. That being said, the problem I had was extreme tiredness, fatigue, and it's happened in waves before. So it's cool that it's gone right now, but I'm just kind of dreading it'll happen again, because it has happened before. So I'm also keeping like a food diary and other things just to see if it was like a food intolerance. I've gotten all these blood tests to check that, and I'm not celiac or diabetic or anything, so I don't know, you know, it's ongoing, but at least at the moment, feeling good, sticking to a schedule, and yeah, my mood is a lot better and stuff like that, so yeah. And thanks for asking. Will you be updating the factories for 1.0? Yeah, so that's something I've been debating. Let me just see. Oh yeah, we've got loads of space. Whether or not I'm going to start over, or just migrate the save into 1.0, and so far, if we look at where everything is, so far, this factory is completely 1.0 compatible. The only thing I think that's not fully compatible is my quartz factory here is actually going to end up getting a... Appreciate the super chat there. I'll read that out in just one moment, Crafted Workshop. This factory here, the node that it uses is actually getting buffed. So it'll be able to make even more. But I think everything else I've built isn't affected by any of the changes. And I don't know, they haven't revealed all the recipe changes, I don't think. But they've mostly said that the recipe changes are going to be, you know, very mid to late game. So yeah, because of that, I think it's safe for now to import it over. I don't think I've done anything. I'm sure something will be a little bit different here or there, but it seems like it'll be relatively easy to kind of make it work with 1.0. Do you think 1.0 will have vertical nudging? It better. I don't know if you know. Do I think it will? I'm gonna say yeah, if I had to guess. Based on the comments in the last video, have you decided the plan for 1.0? No, not really. Still thinking of, I still want to see more from it. So I'm waiting. So Crafted Workshop dropped $10 super chat, $9.99, and said, hey man, watched all the series. As someone who builds stuff in real life, this game scratched a major itch for me. Just finished tier 8. Wow. Working on the last space elevator phase. So complex. Dude, you gotten further than me. I've never gotten that far. The furthest I got was I had a fused frame factory, and I was making 16 fused frames per minute. And then I was also in the middle of making a supercomputer factory that I didn't finish. But I had everything ready to go, just technically didn't hook it up yet. But I suppose that's a bit of a cop-out answer. But yeah, shout out, man. Tier 8, no joke. And they're nerfing it, right? I mean, technically it won't be as bad for the full release. They just set a really high goal to keep people kind of satiated while they're working on 1.0. So in theory, it might be the hardest it'll ever have to be, or it'll take the longest with the amount of stuff you need. With your health doing all right, how are the kittens? Cats are good. Yeah, no, the cats are great. I love our cats. So we were away from them for a week. Went to Ireland. That's kind of when my health issues were really kicking in. Before, or when it was at its worst. But yeah, they're awesome. It's really hot today. At least in the UK, it's 28 degrees in the southeast. So it's quite a warm day. You know, some people, whenever you tell people like, oh, it's hot in England, they always immediately go like, well, it's like 38 here. It's like, okay. But, you know, houses in England don't have air conditioning and they have a lot of insulation to keep in the heat. So it's a little different, but sure. And also just people aren't used to it. So let them be hot and complain about it, I guess. I do have an aircon unit though, but I don't have it turned on right now. But yeah, with it being really hot, the cats are just like sunbathing, I guess, and they love it. So funny, well, I found it funny. My cat, Nyx, is a really nice big bed. She sleeps in every night in our room, actually. And like she woke up, got up. She gets up when we get up, and kind of walked out, found a patch of sun, and then just lay down and fell asleep on it. It's like, wow, you just rolled out of bed onto like a already warm apartment and then just lay in the hottest part of it and just fell asleep again immediately. It's like, wow, what a life. Anyway, 21 degrees in Scotland. That's basically like 40 degrees Celsius for everyone else. I'm dying, come and fan me. So hot right now. Yeah, no, it's really warm. Normally, when it's this hot, I definitely have aircon on, but I can see that it's not going to be as hot tomorrow, so I just could not be bothered hooking it up today. In Australia, it's freezing. That's interesting. I guess it would be. Well, at least it's winter, right? It was 37C in Karachi. You never leave the AC room in the day. Oh, yeah. So, Karachi. Let's see. Where is that? I'm going to make just a complete guess. Let me see what your name is, actually. That might give me a clue. Shahzaib. I'm just going to say India. Seems like it could be. It's kind of close to some Indian dishes I've had, so is it India? $38 in Bologna. Talking about dishes. We go for some bolognese right now. I love this. Everyone's just reporting the weather where they are. Alright, looking good. Top floor is almost gone. So once this is gone, then we can just start removing all these machines. And, oh, actually, something I could do is they're underclocked. Might as well just, like, make sure they're all running. Just consume everything that's here until you can't do anymore. Yeah, that makes sense. That one's not even operational because it has to wait to get computers from here. That's waiting for plastic, yeah. So a lot of these already have run out. This one's still going though. Oh. Anyway, it's in Pakistan, close enough. Yeah, it was not too bad. Too far. Maybe a little insulting, but yeah, not too far away. Hey, I've been looking at a couple games on Steam that I've been thinking about playing. I know most people don't. It's so interesting because a lot of viewers really just do pick the one series that they like, and that's it. You know, they find me for Satisfactory, and that's what they watch. I get it. There's YouTubers I watch that cover multiple things, and I only watch them for one thing. So I totally get it. But I can't help but have my eye wander towards some new games that have caught my eye. So, Norland looks kind of cool. Has anyone played it? Just came out yesterday. It's Hooded Horse. It is early access. I saw some people saying it has technical issues, but otherwise, fun. I was thinking of actually just jumping in and just doing a random video on it, being like, I haven't played anything like this before. I tried playing RimWorld and I just didn't really like it. But for some reason, this game looks more up my alley. You can form like little militias and stuff. I thought it was kind of cool. Alright, cool. I'll just make a trip out to the, whatchamacallit, the old containers, dump some of this stuff, and then we'll get back to it. I'm good. Nitin, thanks very much for asking. Going to the States Right now it's 29C in the entire United States. 24 in Stockholm. That is pretty hot for Sweden. 41 and 30. Wow, yeah. We're all hitting it. 82 in Virginia. Shout out to Virginia. Not for no particular reason, just seems like a cool state. I would like to go there. Richmond or something. Factorio. Oh, don't get me started on that. So Factorio, I love Factorio. I think it's awesome, but it's just too advanced for me. Not in terms of the gameplay. I mean, in terms of being a YouTuber, I just wouldn't be able to keep up. Nobody wants to watch me play Factorio badly. You know, I can only barely hang on to people watching me play Satisfactory badly. And if you like the competition, let's say out there for the YouTube market for Factorio is insane. People just run by and they like look at a piece of ground and a factory just builds through blueprints and they automate the building of things. Like it's just too much. So I'll never probably do that or keep up to that. Dyson Sphere program would be a factory game I'd maybe look at, but Florida. All right, yeah. Florida, man. I feel bad. I don't know where Maryland is. When I hear Maryland, I just think of Maryland cookies, which probably isn't even the American Maryland. I don't know. Did I dump that stuff? I did, yeah. Alright. I'm gonna dump these machines. I'll leave the last one on the end because it's still powering through some stuff. Might as well just get... so these aren't blueprints, no. No, we'll just have to manually get rid of these walls then. These are blueprints, so we could take those down. It's just that they're packed full of material still. Just thinking... Yeah, no, I'll get rid of it. This will be a floor, but it's probably going to expand out further, so I can get rid of the walls, but the floor here can stay. This is going to be a transport hub, that's the idea. A place where lots of vehicles meet to exchange goods and also connect to a railway up above. Skyledge, hey, appreciate the super chat. Thank you. No message either. What's CA? CA oh, Canadian dollar, is it? I thought it was just a C with a dollar sign. But hey, appreciate that, thank you. Oh, Maryland and Northeast. New England area, got it. Demo mode engaged. Yeah, indeed. Demolition mode. That's what I was saying, like, it would be a lot faster, I suppose, just to delete this on Satisfactory calculator, but I wanted to keep the base floor in, which you could do as well. And set the height to retain. But I don't know, just thought it would be a nice, fun... It's sort of like, do you ever see those shorts or TikToks and things where... someone's talking, but in the background, it's just like GTA or something. It's like they divide the screen to two. Because your attention span's so bad that it's like, hey, well, I don't know, you're watching whatever current event unfold. On the top screen is like someone just driving down a cliff in GTA. And I sort of feel like that's what this stream is. It's like just complete background content where it's like you could just slowly watch things get removed. In like a very OCD way. And that was originally a blueprint, but I changed all the materials, so not technically one anymore. Maryland isn't in New England, lol. It borders VA. Let me look up where it is so that I learn. Maryland isn't a state though, right? It is? Maryland is a state? Wow. Did not know that. Why did I not know that? Yeah, well, obviously I'm not from America, but I feel like I should have known that. One of those forgotten states. I feel like some of the ones in the middle are also just like forgotten states. Like Wyoming. No one's thinking of that, you know? Nobody. But when you say it, it's like, oh yeah, Wyoming. Yeah, yeah. This is real America up here, isn't it? The 13 colonies. It's real America. Is Maryland one of the 13? Seems like it would be. Maryland mentioned. It's a myth. It's insane how nicely designed your how nicely designed your temporary factory is. Well, it's just a big rectangle with truck stations. I do get it though. I know people just build like monstrosities or whatever at spaghetti lines when it's temporary, but I still like to be organized. I wanted to build like a pretty organized factory, but it is done really basic. It's very basic. It's just, you know, a long road, asphalt road with these blueprints. Like, I just spaced out these blueprints with I think it was just a one gap between each one. So it naturally just becomes uniform when you build with blueprints and stuff like that, I suppose. But thank you, I guess. Yeah. One thing I'd like to be able to add to this game is an instant dismantle instead of that little bar filling up, or just make the bar faster. I'm sure there's a mod that does that. That's something that bothers me. It takes so long when you're doing a lot of dismantling. Make it like an almost instantaneous click for me. I'd be happy with that. Alright. Now cut off from power, I think. Your extreme organization methodology is why I watch you. My factories are mostly floors with some walls to make the second floor. Yeah, no, I've been there. See, also, I'm doing it in front of people, right? So I'm obviously a little bit more... I try to make things look somewhat decent because I know people are seeing it. If you're just playing on your own, it's not quite the same, I think. It doesn't have to be. When I first played my very first series, where it was just myself, I didn't really do much of the cosmetics at all. And in this one, I've put them to a minimum. It's like the bare minimum amount of cosmetic I can do. Otherwise, I'll just get distracted and never actually do anything. I'll just be focusing on like making a circle, a bend in a road for like an hour. That'd be one thing I'd really love if they did add to 1.0. I doubt they will, but a spline system for roads. They talked about how they tried it before and they couldn't really make it work nicely. And then a mod has kind of activated it, from what I understand. And what I mean by spline system is like how they do rail lines, right? So you just drag out a rail line and it can curve and bend and stuff. And they had a method of doing that for roads, like a 3-lane asphalt road thing. And it's like, dude, that'd be awesome if we could just get like a road tool. The same way you have a railway tool. Why not? Alright, so I want to dump in things I really don't want. Or have a lot of. These things would be good. But the things I want to keep are specialized stuff like crystal oscillators, circuit boards. Circuit boards are okay next, I make those. Anything I don't make, I guess, is just what I want to keep. Almost dead. Alright, so... do I have what I need to make a truck? I might just load up a truck. I need heavy modular frames and encased beams. See you later, iFixit. Sorry if I missed any chat from you. I do have Lumen on, yeah. That's why it's gone so dark. How come you don't use the Republic of Play channel anymore? I used to do reviews there, and while it was okay, so basically I did reviews. I started them in 2017. That was the goal of the channel, and I started when I was only making about $300 or $400 a month, so I wasn't really making anything for like a full-time job anyway, because I quit my job to do it. And I Anyway, after being supported on Patreon for a while and on through Twitch and stuff, people really helped me out to keep going, and I eventually got the channel to be, like, it took me like a year and a half probably, but I got it to be, what's the word? Breaking even every month. So it took about a year and a half to do that. Anyway, after another 2 years, then I started making a profit, like a decent profit, where I was like, oh, now it's like sort of starting to pay off a little bit. Nothing too crazy, just keep my head above water. Anyway, I started doing Let's Plays on the side around that time, which is actually one of the reasons, yeah, thinking about it, I was even profitable at all. But I was doing Let's Plays on the side because I was reviewing strategy games. They take a long time to record and put videos out there. And because of that, it's like, well, I'm playing Age of Empires for 30 hours before I make a video on it, so why don't I just make a Let's Play on Age of Empires at the same time and double dip? Anyways, the Let's Play channel ended up doing better, at least more consistent than the review channel. So the review channel for me, some reviews would get like 50,000 views. I'm like, sweet, if every video got 50,000 views, this would be awesome. I'd be very happy. But it would get 50,000. Then the next video would get 5. And it's like, well, I put the same amount of time into both videos, but I have no control, or feels that way, over how they perform. And I wasn't really building an audience. It's something I'm still quite bad at, is actually building an audience. Because what happens on this channel is people come into Satisfactory, I play something else, and they go away. And then you actually lose the original people that even came in for Satisfactory, or some of them. So I still find that difficult. It's easy to build an audience if you stay with one thing, but I just can't do that. I'll lose my mind. But it's something I struggle with. So at the same time, I'm like, well, I really just should. Job, can't just be having fun all the time, but at the same time, I just can't bring myself to stick with just one thing. I just feel like I get burnt out with it. Anyways, to answer the question, which is why don't I do reviews anymore? Eventually, the Let's Plays just became far more consistent revenue, and I was only doing like maybe 10% of my weekly schedule was being put into those Let's Plays overall, whereas the reviews were taking up like 90% of my time, or maybe 20-80, you know, whatever. So I was like, okay, what if I flipped it and just put all my time into the Let's Plays and a little bit of time into reviews? And I did that for a little bit, for just like a month, and it was insane. I ended up making like 5 times more money that month. So I was like, sweet, this actually works then. So I had to let my ego go and say, like, look, I'm obviously just not that good of a reviewer, or probably not that good of a YouTuber. I actually feel like my YouTube reviews are good. I still feel that way. I've watched them back like every now and then. I'm like, these are pretty good. But on that channel, there was guides and sometimes Let's Plays and then rant pieces and all these random things. But it's like the reviews were pretty good. If it was only a channel for that one thing, it might have done okay. But it became really diluted with all these different types of content, and people subscribed for things that I didn't cover anymore. Like, people were subscribing for Stellaris Developer Diaries, and I stopped doing that. So, long story short, it seemed like just putting all my eggs in one basket was the basket that was working, in effect, was a better idea, and it's paid off. So, I would love to still do reviews, but it just doesn't make any sense when this is working. I should just put more and more time into this. So that's why. Brett Williams says, I'm not going to lie, I only watch your Satisfactory videos. I love watching them, though. I rewatch them all the time. Yeah, no, it's totally cool. I know loads of people do that. Loads of people do that for Anno. Lots of people even do that for City Skylines. I get lots of comments recently saying, like, you haven't done City Skylines in months. Like, where is it? Like, oh, I only watch you for City Skylines. And it's like, damn, man. I get it, but it's so annoying the way YouTube is just like... I suppose if you have... Oh, there's no power. I suppose if you've got a really strong personality, you can carry people onto whatever. So it's not just YouTube's fault. That's obviously how I do my videos or whatever. It's totally fine. But yeah, it would behoove me much more to be a creator for just one thing. Like, definitely. If I could just do 2 or 3 Satisfactory videos a week, I'm sure they would probably do better overall, and build an audience for that one thing would probably do better overall. But I just don't want to do that, I guess. Because I like Anno. And as I was saying, I'm looking at that game Norland. I was looking at The Cycle. Looks pretty cool. Got an update recently. I'm thinking of doing a No Man's Sky playthrough and a Minecraft playthrough. I've been playing around with Minecraft mods lately and just being like, holy crap, man. Some of the stuff in this would be so fun to do. But I don't know. You're just like building an audience for something completely different. And then you end up with 150,000 subs and 10,000 viewers, you know, because the 140,000 people are there for something you don't do anymore. Hey, thanks for the gifted membership, though. It was given to Sal Vlaxitov, and that came from Damkara. And thanks, Jamie Kelly says, I'll say you have a great Let's Play personality in all the games you play. I came for Satisfactory videos, but you've gotten me into more games. That's good to hear. Yeah, obviously the dream, the goal is you bring him in for one thing, and hopefully, and like I said, there's really no big deal. It's not on you guys to feel any pressure one way or the other, but hopefully you can get a few people to every now and then check out one or two other videos. I used to watch Jack Frags only play Battlefield. Pretty much, that was it. But every now and then he would put up other videos, very slowly, and he's a much bigger YouTuber. See, I think I'm trying to do it at a stage where I'm just not big enough to be moving into different games too much. That's probably the reality. But when he would do it, it's like, oh, I'm not interested in his COD videos. I'm not interested in his whatever videos. But now, after sticking with him for multiple years, I do watch almost everything he puts out. Just because I know him, I guess, now. Or it feels like I know him, you know? And I can, like, understand his opinions on things. So, or I just like the way he plays the game as well. It's not even about his opinions and stuff. Right, so I wanted to unload some of those heavy modular frames just before I start decommissioning some of these. Just do a nice big one of those and one of those. So I guess the floors are going to be removed anyway, and I'm going to go around and just clear these crates a little later that we're dropping here. Right. Yeah, let me sort out this inventory and go pick up some of these crates. But that's half the truck or 1/3 of the truck station's gone. Oh god. Wow, even that couldn't be picked up, huh? Alright, let me go drop some of this stuff off. Actually, while I have the material here, I'll just start filling in these floors, because they have to be filled in anyway. Anyways, demoing the parts factory, let me see where this goes. Well, yeah, it's just, it's gonna be a pretty chill stream, just where I'm destroying this factory in the background. And then we'll talk about, like, if I've had any time left over, why I'm doing this or what I'm doing later. Actually, yeah, I'll catch people up on why this is happening in a moment. Super chat from Bullwolf Christo. The $20. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate that a lot. That's a huge amount, so thank you. I'd be very interested in seeing a review or Let's Play of Satisfactory Plus, the mod, as it's much more complex and changes the game enough that it almost feels like a new game. Yeah, I'm of two minds about this. I appreciate that. I don't think I'll probably play any overhaul mods until 1.0 is out and I've beaten the game. That's just how I feel about it. I'd rather get one thing done rather than keep subdividing into different content all the time. So, I'm Kibbitz just did a video on this. This is possibly why a lot of people I feel like have been recently asking me about it, because I was wondering, why is everyone saying this to me lately? And I watched the first few minutes of his video. Granted, I didn't watch much more of it, right? So I don't really know what's in the mod beyond the beginning. But it did just seem arbitrarily complex rather than interesting. And maybe some people just like that, and that's cool. And I might find it fun, I don't know. But it's like, the first bit I watched in the video, he was saying like, okay, we want to set up a constructor, but we can't even do that. A constructor is going to require some, I can't remember what it was. It's like crushed copper. It's like, cool. So to get crushed copper, we have to build a copper miner, and then also, actually, you can't even do that. Can't even do that. You have to do something else first. And then like, the ore gets crushed in a crusher. And then you use that to put it into another machine. I'm just like, at what point? To me, I'm a mechanics-driven player, not necessarily a content-driven player. If you just pad out the progression that's in the game already, that's, to me, nothing about that is a new game. What would be a new game? New machines are kind of new gameplay if they actually make you do something you wouldn't otherwise do. And what I mean by that is, think about how the game is structured. We have a constructor, it's one input. An assembler, 2 inputs. It combines 2 things. A manufacturer, 4. Okay? A packager, it's a liquid, but it outputs a liquid and a resource, right, together, I guess. You know, it works in both ways. It's omnidirectional, right? So you can depackage or package something. A refinery, again, same kind of thing. It's got an input for a resource and a liquid, and then out. Same for, I think it could even take gas, possibly. But anyway, you can kind of see, like, the idea behind the design. You could say, like, well, I could just have another machine that has a 1 input and a 1 input, and I can call this a fart machine, and it has to take in a crushed ore. All it does is take in a certain type of ore because it's granulated ore. And that, to me, that's not new gameplay. That's just a reskin of something that's in the game already. It's a 1 input in and 1 input out. You know what I mean? So when I look at them, and like I said, I'm talking about the very first bits of this mod that I've seen. I'm sure it does add these things as it gets more complex. But what I would like to see from a mod that makes a game feel, quote, like a new game, is it makes you do something that you wouldn't otherwise do already. I don't mean, oh, I don't normally grind up copper ore. I'm talking about, you got to change the idea that this is just 1 input to 1 output. This would have to be fundamentally something else. It would need to be like, well, maybe it's an input of gas and it puts out a liquid. And then it's like, huh, that's different than anything in the game right now. That'd be different. That makes me think about, okay, well, gases need to flow in this way, and I have to do something else when they come out, and maybe they have a byproduct as well. That would be borderline different. And I've talked about it many times, but like something like underwater building, you know, that's different. You can't do that right now. Build underwater, maybe you need oxygen, maybe, or something like this. You'd have a constructor, but it could be a pressurized constructor, right? So it's like, ooh, a pressurized constructor. So how do we operate the constructor? It's like, okay, you need to provide power, but you also need to give it pressure. And maybe the pressure comes in a form of a gas. So the gas is there to keep the machine running, not just to provide it with something to refine into something else. It's to, let's say you make 600 gas, and it's like, oh, I can run 20 constructors with this because they're pressurized. They need the gas to be able to even operate. So it's like, there we go. There's just a random idea that I just shit out, but it's like, that's different. You can't do that in the game. It makes you think differently about how you build. It would make you think different about the materials you have. It's like, okay, do I use the gas to make something, or do I use it to run a machine? Suddenly you have quite an interesting kind of choice that you have to make somewhere along the line. It's like, well, I need a bit of it maybe to make certain items, and maybe I need another thing to actually operate certain machines. So anyway, I say all this having not looked into the mod, so I'm not really criticizing it, but I'm just saying when people often say it's like, oh, it's almost like a whole new game, it's like, it better change something fundamental. It can't just be new recipes, really, and a machine that, you know, basically does the same thing, just called something else. That's what I would define as something new. And hopefully that makes sense. Steampunk overhaul, that would be kind of cool. Tesla tech, steampunk technology and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, sure. Why have I done this way? I don't know. Oh yeah, because it needs to be 2 materials. Yeah, I keep forgetting about that. 2 materials so that this could be metal or something else in the future without changing what's on the bottom. It matters, damn it. This is going to be a transport hub, so a lot of it's probably going to be asphalt on the top. I'm sorry, I'm very bad with talking through ideas like that, and also reading the chat and playing the game. I tend to just stop and then chat and then continue playing, which is terrible. Terrible streamer etiquette. Need to get better. I just need to stream more, to be honest. Anyway, honestly, I think the Satisfactory Plus mod is based on Bob's mods from Factorio. I haven't played it. Yeah, I wouldn't know. I'm sure, hey, everyone is saying it's good. It's not a knock against it at all. I don't want to sound defensive or something that I don't like. For me, like I just said, I would still want to just finish the game first before I do that. That's number 1. And then number 2, I hope the mod changes stuff in the game, not just for the sake of it, but it actually makes you think differently. That's really it. And back to temperatures. I'd love to see more than anything else in Steampunk. Oh, I read that. Temperature in the game might be kind of cool. Right. Let's get rid of some belts. And then we can start clearing some of these crates. What are you going to do with the free floor space? So yeah, so the idea for this factory is that it's going to... So the idea I've had, to back up a little further, for this series, is to break things down into 3 sort of tiers. What I mean by that is... Let me just take a second to formulate this idea in my head and then I'll say it. Yeah. Alright, so... The idea is that basically small factories in various biomes, or just factories, they don't have to be small. Factories in these various biomes will be all connected by a centralized, what did I call it? Transport hub. Right, so let's say grassy fields here. Everything in the grassy fields area, let's say the modular frame factory, the iron factory, maybe even the quartz crystal that's up here, and maybe other smaller components. So to give you the lay of the land with what you're seeing on screen now, the little pioneer symbols are extraction points. That's where ore gets taken out of the ground and delivered somewhere else. I'll just wait for this autosave. So the idea that I have in mind is that the resource nodes will have truck stations built next to them. Trucks carry the ore into factories. Factories make a product. The product then gets driven via a truck to the biome's local transport hub. On the bottom floor, which you can imagine we're standing in now, is where all the trucks are going to come in from their various factories. They come in, they deliver their material, and then they go back. On the floor above, things get fed upstairs into a train station, and the train will carry it long distance over to another biome where there's another transport hub. So the idea is to have maybe 5 of these in total, 5 or 6. So one in the north, south, west, east, center, and maybe one up in the northeast desert because it's quite far. Maybe 6 of these in total. Transport hubs, all connected via rail. So instead of connecting factories by rail, I'm planning on connecting transport hubs by rail. And transport hubs will ultimately send out a fleet of trucks to the biome to collect things. So what's going to happen with this place? That's what it's going to become. It's going to become the first transport hub for this area. Now ultimately we need 2 to make this even work. So there's going to be one down here, and then one up in the west. That's the idea. Right. Airships instead of drones, old school steam locomotives, tiers of steam power. Yeah, that'd be cool. I think the overall mod does actually have stuff like that, but having tried it, having tried it myself, I never got to that point because I didn't want to keep going. Yeah, when I just watched a little bit from Mime Kibitz, I was like, this. I don't know why they've padded time into the beginning for some reason. It's like, okay, there's like 5 more steps involved just to get the first things done. Is that better? Is it worse? Is it? I don't know. You know, I don't know. All right. Don't need these. Might just keep 1 lot. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. All right. Continue. Get rid of these machines and stuff upstairs now. Right, there's a lot to get rid of. I guess I'll just tap it so we don't hear that noise all the time. Pull up immediately. Is there power poles out this way? No. Do what? Just for actually no. Yeah, I need to just keep running back and put this in the containers. What we got to do. Fortunately, a lot of these just are full of like materials, so it's just going to take a while to empty it all out. I suppose a quicker way of doing it would be to build awesome sinks at the back of the truck stations, just so they feed straight into them, rather than constantly deliver over there. So yeah, let's try that. Do I have what I need for awesome sinks? Yep. Alright, cool. So, do something like this, right behind each one. Yeah, the crushed fantasy ore stuff just didn't appeal to me. It was an instant turn off. That's the other thing, yeah, I didn't like that. I mean, I'm not a geologist, but it seemed like they were just making up ore. Like, I'd rather just operate with things that seem plausible, like copper. Like, I guess the only thing in this game that's not realistic is Caterium, but I think it's just supposed to be gold, renamed. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Whatever. I remember that with the Rift Breaker. Really cool game, by the way, if you haven't ever played it. It's a factory game, tower defense game. With great graphics. But the Rift Breaker, it's like, they call it Ironium and Carbonium. It's like, just call it carbon and iron. Like, why are we doing this? It's not patented. You could just name it. Low on wire. Regular wire. This playthrough, are you wanting to go through all the way to nuclear in all tiers? That's the idea. I mean, with every playthrough, the idea is to do everything. But, yeah, it kind of depends on viewership as well. I won't lie, viewership has kind of fallen off a lot, so after a certain point, if it's low enough, I can't continue. And I'll just start a new thing for 1.0, I guess, but... What do you think they're gonna do with Sam ore? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's so tough to say. It could be anything. I just feel like they could do anything they want with it. A lot of people seem to think that they'll do maybe something to do with teleportation, but I really just have no idea. I mean, you could do nothing with it. So I'll tell you what. Like when I say nothing with it, I mean let me just back up. What I've noticed is in the teaser trailer, they have the space elevator, and you can see all the way up, and you can see that there's actually stuff being built up there now in space, at the very top of it. So it seems to me, I could be wrong, but it seems to me that you're building, the space elevator shipments that you're sending up is to actually build a platform that's up there. That's what it looks like in the trailer. And that's why they're teasing it. It's like, ooh, you can actually see this huge thing up in the sky, connected to the space elevator. So it's like, yeah, I guess it would make sense. Like, you know, you always wonder what are you sending up here, and where is it going, and why? And my best guess at the moment would be like, okay, yeah, you're actually building some sort of big infrastructure up in the sky that then needs SAM ore to operate for some reason. So refined SAM ore, I guess. So, you know, it could just be used as something that the company, Fix-It company, wants SAM ore, but maybe you can only extract it once you've already built everything else because it's needed to be refined in some massive machine. I don't know. Or it could be actually used for something like teleportation. So when I say it could be used for nothing, I meant like it could just be an end game thing that you have to just deliver and you don't actually have a use for. It's just to complete the game. It's like, what's nuclear pasta used for? Well, it's used to complete the game. So maybe Sam War is just used for that. But other people seem to think it might have a more direct application, like teleporting or building a teleporter or running a machine. I like the idea of that. I like the idea of supplying a machine just so that it can even be powered. So maybe you can build a teleporter, but it needs to be run on SAM ore. So it's like, okay, you can build like a Stargate type thing in one place and build another one, but you have to supply it with SAM ore. And this would be a way of saying like, well, you could only ever have like 5 of them because there's only like 5 SAM ore nodes or whatever, you know? So who knows? I really don't know. It could go so many, it could be none of that. They might have grander plans for it or much more tame. It's such a non-answer, but I really just don't know. I don't know what I would do with it other than what I've just described, which is maybe get it to make something work. And because of the finite nature of the stuff in the game anyway, it would balance itself. Because you can't build like hundreds of them. You can't build 100 teleporters if they have to run on SAM ore. Hang on one sec. There we go. Anyways, SAM is for teleport tech, says Ben. Are you a tester? Are you an early access tester? Or a beta access tester? Seem very confident. It'll be for screws. Ask you how do you use the Sky UI. I have it downloaded. You press Control L. Yeah, it helps to read the description about the mod because it tells you. But yep, press Control L, and then this window pops up, and you can move it and then change the time of day. Great, love it. And you can actually change the day length and the night length. So I've made my day 2 hours long and my night 4 minutes long, which is probably a little short, but something like that is what I would go with. Something more like 20 minutes for nighttime, 120 for day, but just for recording purposes, I have it very short. Doesn't affect anything, and you can turn off the mod and it doesn't affect anything, your save file or anything like that, so I recommend it. It's a really good mod. Especially when you're early in the game and you can't light things yet. You just have to use your torch. Things can be very dark. I hope they bring back rain. I really liked the rain when it was in the game originally, but they got rid of it for when they moved to Unreal Engine 5. Because there was some problem with it. By the way, thanks on the support on the stream. Really do appreciate it. Don't really expect much when I just randomly stream every now and then, so I do genuinely really appreciate when people go above and beyond, let's say. Almost done though now, I'd say. We're over halfway at least. How long have we been going actually? Oh yeah, just about halfway on the stream actually. I'm streaming for 3 hours today. Alright, let's get rid of all the floor holes can go next. What is the mod called? It's called Sky UI. SKY UI. Apparently Rain couldn't survive the engine update and the amount of work to get it back was deemed out of scope. Oh really? Even for 1.0? Oh, that sucks. Oh yeah, sadly no rain for 1.0, says Nathaniel. Oh well. Obviously it's not a major thing, but I just liked it. Yeah, it's a shame. Very odd. I wonder what's going on with that. I've been working on Manor Lords in a limited capacity as a developer. And they've talked about this, but they've ported the game from Unreal 4 to 5. And their rain works. So, as far as I know, anyway. It turns out it's like they released it and they're like, oh, we had to get rid of rain as well. How much stuff am I picking up? I don't want to get rid of the floor too much yet, just because I'd rather get rid of everything that's on the belts without creating floating crates in the air. Don't mind the crates downstairs because I can just go run to get them. These ones would be more awkward, so just being quite careful with it. We missed the rain. We missed the rain down on Massage 2A1B or whatever. Snit was answering some community questions, and that one came up. Rain is just too much work for 1.0, but they like it as much as we do, so maybe someday. Have I played Astroneer? No, a lot of people have asked me to. I'm really tempted to do a No Man's Sky playthrough, but I feel like I don't know what you do in that game. Like, I really like the game, and you can actually build and automate things now, so there's some base building and kind of mini factory-esque type stuff in there. But obviously the large part of the game is exploration. And I've played it before. I must have like over 100 hours on it. I love the game, but I haven't played it in a really long time. Maybe over 2 years now or something. And that new update just came out, update 5.0 Worlds. Looks awesome. And I'm like, dude, this would be pretty fun. How many hours on this world? Just crossed 300, so 304 now. But yeah, as much as I think it'd be fun, I just don't really know what kind of video content you can make out of it. I'm like, well, it could be an edited down series where it's like almost like a Traveler's Tales of what happened, but that's a lot of effort. Or it could just be a straight up playthrough, but then it's a lot of nothing going on. I suppose you could just edit parts out. Anyway, I don't know, I'll probably never do it. It's just, again, my eye keeps getting drawn to all these other games that I think would be so fun to play. I dropped all my biofuel in here again. I always make that mistake. Yeah, don't need any of that. That's fine, I can go. Alright, cool. Nobody knows what to do in No Man's Sky. I like to watch people work in Manor Lords, but it gets weird sometimes. What does that mean? It gets weird sometimes. Its base building is mostly conceptual. Yeah, I mean, I've played it a lot. I've done a lot of base building in that game. I think it's pretty cool. I don't, like, I'm not a multiplayer guy, so the expeditions and all that kind of stuff in No Man's Sky, it's not for me. I'm more of a solitary gamer. Like, I love Minecraft, but playing it on my own is, like, the best. Such an evocative game when you play it on your own, I find. I think I got rid of everything up here now, didn't I? Yeah, so we can just start getting rid of these floors now. I guess I don't need to limit what we do, just to go like this. Yeah, and I was playing with the Distant Horizons mod and huge mod pack that someone made. I can't remember their name right now, but the YouTuber that like put together a whole, like about 100 mods for Minecraft or something, and like makes it work together in a big pack. And I was just like, this is phenomenal. Like, it's just so cool. And it uses the create mod, which also, again, not to make everything factory building, but adds like the factory elements to that game, or the automation elements to that game. Which I remember, very first factory game I think ever was Minecraft. First one I ever played was Minecraft anyway. It came out before Factorio. Was the Tekkit mod, where you had these like glass pipes and you could see all your materials rolling along, and you could build these excavators that would dig straight down in like grid patterns of 32 by 32. It's so cool. and it would require power and all sorts of stuff. So I'd love to do that again. I just think it's awesome. And now there's like trains and things in it. But it would take so long to learn. But I love it. I think it just looks so cool to be able to do that. Gotta say, you inspired me to play this game, and now my friend and I are obsessed. Awesome. Good to hear, Treble. Being a developer myself, I think the issue was how to balance the frame rates, preventing rain inside the factory since... Oh, yeah. Yeah, I could see that being a bit of a challenge. Although I think it's a bit of a misnomer that rain causes frame rate problems, but I could see it in terms of being inside. They do a bit more with it, spatial audio, and I guess detecting collision, all the different surfaces and stuff, I suppose, might be a problem. So I could see that being more difficult than something like Manor-Lords, where, again, I don't know how they implemented rain, I haven't looked into it, but its collision, I guess, isn't as... You can't be under it, you know? So I can see that being a difference, I suppose. Alright. Miss the old Tekkit era? Oh, those were good days. Tekkit doesn't exist anymore as far as I understand. Tekkit was awesome. So good. God, those are just happy times. Such happy times. Like coming home from school and playing Tekkit. When I was like 16. Not that young. Loved it. Just so good. It felt like gaming back then just felt like things were just so good. Like the PS3 generation for me, PS3 and 360, the amount of new IP that was coming out, it's like you have your Gears of War, your Halo, and on PlayStation it's like Uncharted and The Last of Us and oh my god, like Little Big Planet, games where you could do things you could never do before because of the internet, like you can like build levels and share them with people, and Call of Duty was like kind of new, or in terms of its new style, was like changing how multiplayer games were thought about. Oh my god. Everything was so good. And then it's like, oh, now we have like, it's when I was starting to get more invested in mods, like Minecraft was a thing, Minecraft mods. I was starting to build modding for Total War games. And get into like sort of game development a little bit. Such happy memories. Especially on PlayStation. I'm just such a big PlayStation fanboy, especially from PS3. The amount of games people here probably just haven't even heard of, or a lot of people would be like Warhawk and Starhawk and Infamous and Killzone Resistance, Metal Gear Solid 4, like all these exclusive games that you just can't play anymore. They're all locked to PlayStation 3, so you either have to have a PS3 or you have to have that like streaming service they'd use. Motorstorm, oh my god. Don't even get me started on Motorstorm. Nowadays it's like, oh, it's like hero shooters and live service. Oh, the industry doesn't have any money. We can't take any risks. But we're willing to risk 200 million on turning Suicide Squad into a fucking live service game that sucks ass. And write it all down when it inevitably fails. And then at the same time they're like, oh well, we can't make any new IP. It's too risky. Why don't you stop making live service games for a minute? You could probably fund 5 games for the same price. Anyway, sorry, a little salty. And anyways, gaming back then was fun, but nowadays it's just mainly remixes of existing games. At the moment, we're definitely, I know it's like a classic old man jaded thing to say, but we're definitely going through a period where it is a lot of safe plays, right? We're using existing IP, making remakes, fair enough, whatever, and then copying each other, like to the extreme. So that's definitely a thing that's happening, more than it used to, for now, at the moment. And then also just the incredible, like, see, with the PS3 and Xbox 360, the internet was kind of like a new thing for console gaming. And people hadn't really figured out what could be done or what couldn't be done with monetization practices. towards the end of that generation, you had people experimenting like with Dead Space 3 and you know, those are the first games that really had microtransactions in them. The concept of a microtransaction. Also, shout out to other games from this era, Left 4 Dead, which popped up in my mind as well. Portal. When Valve were actually like really releasing games. Or purchasing teams that were making their mods from their existing games. Anyways. I'm sure I think we will get back to that. Right now, the AA indie space is kind of thriving, and they're the ones coming up with all the ideas. So, you've got new stuff appearing, it's just a little lower quality and a little lower budget. It's fine. But yeah, it's become the money hatters, the business folks have kind of pushed their way in a little bit more. There's too much money in gaming not to chase some of these things, which I understand, so that's why you have a game like Manor Lords or whatever sell like 2 million copies, because it's like, hey, maybe if you just made a city builder that like kind of looked realistic, people would buy it. And then there's people like making these long posts on LinkedIn about how there was this famous post going around just recently, a viral post on LinkedIn about how Manor Lords specifically has been really slow to update. The game's been out for about 2 months and it's had multiple updates, but they've been small, I guess, so far. But there's a big one coming. Anyway, but the person in the post, they mentioned they weren't trying to throw shade, but they inevitably were, I guess. And they were saying like, oh, it's really slow, but the CEO from Hooded Horse, the publisher, responded and said like, it's just such a bad take that players falling off in early access for a single player game is totally normal. It's not a live service game. Not to put words in his mouth, you can go read his post. It's quite interesting. And the original poster was kind of saying like, it's a, you know, early access is a marathon. You need to have constant updates. It's like that. You're not describing a marathon. You're describing a series of sprints. You know, Baldur's Gate had, I don't know, 20,000 or 30,000 concurrent players when it first went into early access. And then when it came out of early access, it had millions. So I don't know what I don't think they were feeling the pressure to throw an update out every 6 weeks. And some weird corpo mindset that you need to retain MAUs. Instead of just thinking about like what's good for the game and the long-term vision of like the game. But anyway, as far as I understand, the game is getting updates actually quite fast compared to normal games, but whatever. Whatever. Anyways, the horse armor. Can't forget that. My first game was Stalker, Clear Sky, I think. First game ever. Wow, it's a hardcore game to get into. Yeah, Portal 3 would be cool. Shout out to this mod that's came out for Portal that has an official Steam page. Can't remember the name of it. It's like Portal Reloaded or Portal Resurrected, something like that. And I was playing it a little bit. It's awesome. It's really, really good. Made me replay all of Portal 2 just recently. It isn't a very long game. And it felt like almost, not a sequel, but it felt like an expansion. Good expansion. So if you're hungering for more Portal content, I recommend checking it out. It has its own Steam page. That's what stood out to me. I was like, oh wow, it's kind of like a Black Mesa type thing. Alright, factory's almost done. Just the roof, this little bit of roof to go. I'll just filter onto, I don't want to remove the ground, so just filter onto dismantling this steel foundation. That should be basically all we need to do. Well, I say all we need to do, still need to get rid of the truck stations, I guess, but... Oh, didn't delete, why? There we go. Port Revolution, is it? Recommend Soma? Yeah, I've played Soma. Me and my girlfriend Rosie, we play horror games every now and then. It's been a while since we played one, but that was one we were kind of playing together. I say together, you know, I'm playing, she's watching, basically, and we kind of make choices together and stuff. We played Outlast and things that way. Excuse me, Soma just didn't really hold our attention, though. I liked it. It was like, okay. But, I don't know. Just after a few hours, I think we played 4 hours or something, and then it was just like, you want to go back to that? No, not really. I guess I didn't feel compelled to go further. Whereas something like Outlast, it was like, oh yeah, like, I don't know why, but we were like, need to know more, need to find more, need to get further. Maybe just the abstract nature of Soma, like it doesn't really tell you anything, you're just supposed to kind of figure everything out yourself and learn about the place yourself. Maybe that's just wasn't enough for us to carry us through. Hope you're doing well. I am Junior Jackson, thank you. And good afternoon, the Valhallan Pickle. I picture a pickle that's about to get shredded onto a burger. And it's like, witness me! And then it gets shredded. A lot of corporations ruin everything. You can't properly serve customers when you work for shareholders. Yeah, private companies are the best. That's the reason why Larian, who do Baldur's Gate, right? They're private. Valve, private. Private companies are the best. Hello Games, private. You think if Hello Games was like a publicly... Well, I hope I don't eat my words, but I'm pretty sure they're not owned by anyone. There's no way No Man's Sky would have all of these updates for free. They would be... They would ultimately have no reason to have stayed with that game and just kind of moved on and tried to do another project. Private companies for the win. Don't get me wrong though, if I was handed a bag of like, you know, $50 million to sell my company, I'd probably do it. But, you know. Unless I felt the potential for the games was there. To do that itself anyway or something. Very ominous music in the game right now. It's just there's some big problem. The a lot of was a typo. A typo? A lot of corporations ruin everything? A lot of the folks going on about these things are folks whose job it is to find something to go on about, and then they just say something, anything at all, about it. I can't remember. The person actually who made this statement on LinkedIn is actually, I could be wrong, but I think they're the CEO of the company that make The Long Dark, which is a game that itself has been in early access for a really long time. So that's something I didn't quite understand. That's what I heard. I didn't look into that. That's just what I've heard. Oh, sorry, what factory is this? Says Jake's Juice. So just to do a little catch up as we're almost done here. I'll wait till I just get rid of this roof and then we'll catch people up on what's going on. Make the choice about what to do next. This will be the last little bit here. Alright, just for the moment anyway. So this factory was the parts factory. Factory where vehicles drove in here, unloaded all these different materials into about 5 manufacturers that were all doing different things. It was originally built because I was going to build a turbo fuel factory and I needed to make the fuel generators, which cost motors, heavy modular frames, and computers. So we didn't have those factories anywhere, and I didn't want to manually craft, you know, whatever 5 times 150 is, 750 computers. It just seemed like that's going to take a long time. So let's set up a small factory that delivers everything I have in the world right now, or sorry, takes in everything I have in the world right now, and very slowly, in a manufacturer that's underclocked, produces computers at a steady rate in the background while I'm building up the factory. So that's what the place was for and what it did, and it worked well. But it's not needed anymore. I now have a computer factory, I have a heavy modular frame factory, and a few of the other things that were made here. And this is going to be transformed into a transport hub. So we're just in the process of dismantling it, but I'm also trying to preserve some of the material and things like that, so it's just taking a little while. I had to turn off all the trucks that were coming in here and stuff like that. And I think some of the trucks that do visit this factory, I think one of them was out here. Yes. Okay, well, they'll actually, this one will still make it here in a moment, but they'll probably, like, have little warning symbols letting me know that they've no destination anymore. We'll have to go around and just clean some of them up. So I'm just getting rid of it because it's not needed anymore, and some of the components that were going in here, such as modular frames and steel beams from there, I need them to make stators. Or, no, sorry, versatile framework. Yeah, that's it. So I want to make some versatile frameworks in the background. And to do that, I needed to stop them from delivering to this factory, and I just figured, what better way to stop them from delivering here than just to delete the factory itself. Obviously, I could have just turned off the trucks, but I knew that this factory has to be torn down anyway, so 2 birds, 1 stone. Alright, now I'm keeping the floor here because it's this place will become a transport hub, which I've talked about a little bit before and a little earlier as well. And the concept for that is basically that it's going to be a place where trucks deliver things in and then send it up to a train station, and that gets sent around the map. The concept, I haven't done it, so I hope it'll work out. Seems like it could get kind of complicated, but we'll see how that goes. And I figured I'd just stream it because I thought, got a few hours to kill, be doing this anyway, might as well chat with people and see what's on people's minds and rant about the games industry, I guess. I'm envious of your consistency at playing Satisfactory. I'm about the same tier as you with 100 hours in the save file, and I'm struggling to keep at it. Yeah, well, so people ask me, like, how do you stop burnout? And I don't want to be too redundant because I talked at length about it, but just to kind of summarize what I mentioned earlier, you want to always have, like, a little goal in mind and keep track of what you've done before. So I have a little notepad thing that kind of shows me everything I've worked on. But I've also built factories so that they can scale. So that makes it, as you're progressing, it makes me feel like I never have to go back and work on the same things. So, at least so far, I'm sure I will eventually, but I've gotten much further into the game now without ever having to go back and do something again. I just have one version of every factory because they just upgrade. So, the quartz factory up here, when I get Mark V belts, I'm going to be able to double its output without building anything, just by upgrading the belts. Same for the coal power plant. I'll get another, I think, 6,000 megawatts out of it when I get the next tier of belts. So, without having to add a new room or any space, you know, it's all built with that idea in mind. So, that's been really neat way of feeling like you're always progressing. Whereas I do feel like there's something about the whole, hey, I need like 20 steel beams, and then like 10 hours goes by and it's like, oh, now I need like 40 steel beams, and I have to rebuild my steel plant or build another one. And that's like, oh, now I'm just getting into like repetitive content a little bit. The payoff isn't as exciting when you just make more of the thing that you've already been making. So I feel like it slightly helps with burnout. So maybe that could be something that could be worthwhile thinking about. But also, the other one is keeping track of what you do so that you can take breaks from the game and come back to it. So I have this. I use Milanote. You could just use anything, even just writing it down somewhere would be good. In like Google Docs or something like that. But I actually have, you know, this was really for the videos, but I'm really happy with it. I think I would always use this now going forward, and I might use it in other games too. Which is like little logic maps of how a factory works, so that if I revisit a place, I'm not like scratching my head like, how does it work? But I'm also not worried about forgetting it either. I know it's here, so I can check back later. So if I stop playing the game for a month and I come back to it and I visit a factory, I can look at this and I know what it's making. So that helps too. So I know it's a little extra. This is quite out there. But if you're worried about burnout and want to stay organized and just keep progressing, that can help quite a bit. Don't forget the CCF. No, I know, yeah. We have to make stators and other things over there, so there's... we might actually go over there today and add some lights in. I'm saving a lot of the crystal oscillators to add in some of those lights. We might even get to do that today. Pretty much as soon as I'm done removing these truck stations, we're going to go do that. Alright, so now I just need to dump all this material out there. I remember those tips on preventing burnout. It's fantastic. I hope it's worked. I mean, it's just a theory, right? I haven't played long enough to know if it's worked, but I feel like it's working. It's helping anyway, right? It helps keep the feeling of progression moving and stuff like that. So. And this is the only example of a factory that I built that was temporary. It's like, yeah, this one's going to have to be removed. I'm going to keep everything in place, just remove the station. These are blueprints themselves as well, are they? Oh no, they came with the thing. Okay. Yep. Alright. Love your new Anno series. Always looking forward to the next episode. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's been really fun so far. Every Tuesday and Thursday. Just dropping things in there to get rid of them. Thanks for the subscriber, by the way. Alright, let's go pick up some of these crates. I just have to make multiple trips back and forth to that. Oh, actually, I guess I could dump the stuff in here, thinking about it. Yeah, that would make sense. Basically works the same then. So, first crate. Let's see if we can find one. Not up in the air, are they? So I'll just pick all this up. So these are connected to Awesome Sinks already, so I might as well just drop this stuff in there. Let that get rolling. Yeah, this is, I know, yeah, this is the only instance of having to go back and destroy a factory. That was always the intention, it's the outlier, the exception to the rule. That's exactly why, because it takes it takes long to do this, so don't want to be doing this too often. If it can be avoided. Man, it's a lot of AI limiters. Alright, I'll wait for this autosave. I know, I'm getting rid of them, don't worry. I hate crates. Can't stand them. Demon Work says, to extend the logic a bit, one of the key factors in reducing burnout is to figure out which bits, or what bits, you find tedious, boring, or annoying. I'm planning to reduce that as much as possible. Yeah, here to break it down, yeah, exactly. I guess I was trying to identify what I think people probably get bored with, which is going back and... I find tension when you're progressing through the game. Things feel good. You're getting new milestones, unlocking new things and building. But then you hit another tier and you kind of just realize, I need to make more of stuff at the lower tiers now. And you could go off and build brand new factories, I suppose. That's, I think, what the game tries to encourage you to do. Go out and explore and find new nodes and build new things, rather than go back and rework them. But almost everyone does go back to the nodes where they already have access and they rework them. And that can be, I feel like for a lot of people, that's where things become quite tedious, especially when the numbers get harder to balance as well. But I'm projecting, that's kind of maybe just how I feel. But yeah, I think you're right. If you try to identify, it's like, what is it about going back to the game that doesn't have you excited? And try to identify what that is and reduce that as much as possible, I guess. Easier said than done, right? It requires a lot of self-reflection, introspection, rather than just going, I'm just gonna boot up a different game. Most people don't really sit there and go like, why don't I like this game as much anymore? But yeah, if you have the introspection to do that, then I suppose you could figure it out and maybe try to reduce it. Uh-oh, these aren't powered on. I must have disconnected them. There we go. Oh, actually... Oh, yeah, no. I was going to say I should leave them, but I shouldn't. I'm getting rid of the truck stations. All fine. Alright, just going to clear up this angle now while our things are sinking in the Awesome Sink. The tier 9 will be a pain in the ass. It's a weird thing to complain about, but I kind of am annoyed that there isn't a tier 10. It just seems like, how could you not bring the number to 10? Just ends on 9. There is a tier 0, I guess, and so in a way there is 10 tiers, but it's like, don't know why that bothers me, but it kind of does. But maybe they'll add more in future. Oh my god. Alright. Oh. Nice. Starting to look a lot neater. Almost everything's gone. What is that small part on top of the signs that you've just deleted? Oh, the little metal rod? Yeah, so if you assign, well, let me just show you. If you put a sign on the top of a ceiling, it automatically gets given a little stilt. If you left click, you can drag it down further then. That's what that is. It's not a custom part. It's just a thing that happens when you do that. And it could be any sign. But yeah. It does it on the ground too. Right? If it's raised off the ground. The other way around. Hey, J Heart BB. They confirmed a tier 10 for 1.0. Did they? I don't think they did. Let's find out. Find out.
Talking about last week's announcement video where we announced probably the thing announcement I want to share with you all related to 1.0, and it's something that y'all have already kind of pieced together from our previous last two videos, but I just want to like sort of confirm this once and for all. 1.0 will mostly consist of endgame content and will mostly center around the completion of project assembly. To do so, you're going to need to complete the final phase of the game. So once you complete phase 4, your next challenge will be to meet the requirements to complete phase 5 by utilizing new technology you gain access to in tier 9.
Yeah, so they just mentioned tier 9. They don't mention a tier 10.
So it's finally confirmed tier 9 will be the final tier unlocked in the game.
Let's put him on blast. Who was it? Jord's TM. They confirmed a tier 10 for 1.0. False. Jord's TM. I swear I heard him say it in one of the latest videos. You're wrong. Feels horrible to be wrong, but you're wrong. It's so funny because you know, did you ever like go on Reddit or something, you read something and it's no, look, everyone's done it and it's no fault. I'm only joking with George, obviously, but the way he said, the way you end up reading what he said was you know, he just very strictly wrote, they confirmed a tier 10 for 1.0. That's all it says, right? It's very when you read that, at least to me, it comes off very confident. You read it as like a confident statement. It's like they confirmed it. It's like, okay, it's a confident thing that someone said. There's a lot on like Reddit where people write things like that, and just social media in general, right? It's like they said this, and you just sort of believe them, because why wouldn't you? It just seems so definitive. No one said, he didn't say, I think they said this. It's no, they said it. And it's amazing how, as I've just gotten a little older, you realize almost nothing anyone says is true about this kind of stuff. But yeah. So if you're going to write stuff online, not that it really matters because everyone's just going to do it anyway, but probably just write, I think. Or maybe. Or just look it up real quickly before you write it. Otherwise, you're part of the misinformation problem. But it's, yeah, it's all good. I would have assumed tier 9 and 10, you know. I think people have been saying that for a while. I guess they never have. Right, so that's that. Let's keep going with removing... I guess I'll just keep removing these little bits while I'm waiting on the awesome things to empty out. gonna keep this scaffolding here in that wall there because it's probably gonna be used in the future anyway. But this factory will likely expand further out that way. But yeah, one of the reasons that just came to mind as well, because I've been talking about certain things a while ago to do with Total War. And, you know, every now and then, I don't leak stuff for Total War, but every now and then I correct the record when I feel like people are wrong. It's like they think this is happening. I'm like, that's not happening for X, Y, and Z reason. And then, like, you know, a month or two later, I'll read every now and then on Reddit, like, if you search your name, my name, it'll come up and it'll be like, Darren said this. And it's like, I never said that, actually. And it's like something that I don't agree with or believe in or wouldn't say. But it's just, and it's upvoted. It's like, oh, this person, I'm sure this person believes it. Not like they're intentionally lying, but it's like, oh, now, you know, the 40 or 50 upvotes that's gotten makes it seem like, yeah, that's true. It's like, that's not true, even as small as it might be. So it's so frustrating. When you start seeing you yourself get misquoted, then you just become skeptical of everything you read, because it's like, well, now I just have no idea of knowing, especially when it's just some random username. If they know what they're talking about, or they're also just guessing, but they didn't maybe phrase their language that way. It's interesting. Anyway, hey Spoody, that's a cool name, and my day is going well, thank you, so far. Past 5 already, is it? For me, yep, it's 4:30. I was gonna go out with Rosie at 5. In about 30 minutes. Means that we'll have gotten this factory done just in time. Or cleared, I guess. I was kind of hoping to do a little bit more stuff over in the other one, but I'll just have to do that myself in between episodes. So the next video, I'm hoping will come out this Sunday. I'm still aiming for that. What I'm planning to do is make stators. So I can make stators in that building over there relatively easily. And from the stators, we can make automated wiring very easily as well. I'll leave that there. That's still full. Okay. Then it's adaptive control units. So all of this stuff is in order to feed the space elevator. So yeah, that'll be the automated wiring. I have circuit boards, I have heavy modular frames, I have computers. So it's really just about getting the automated wiring. So stators is needed to do automated wiring, which is needed to do adaptive control units. And then versatile frameworks. Excuse me, it's just something I can do in the background. Using a little bit of the modular frames, we make 6.66 and then I actually don't know how many of these I make. And we can bring up that Mila note document and it might tell me. Just bear with me while that loads in the background and I'll see. Anyway, the steel was going here and the modular frames were going here, but now they're not. So now we have that free again to just make versatile frameworks in the background while I build that factory. So it will be automated, I guess, but not kind of truly automated at a number that's good. It's kind of a low number. I can't believe that it worked for CA. So did I. Yeah, I worked for Creative Assembly from 2015, February of 2015 to August of 2017. Very late August. So I worked in marketing. So originally I was supposed to be QA for marketing. An intern. I was an intern for marketing and QA, but for a year. But after 6 months, I was going to do 6 months of each. Because they wanted to see what I'd be more suited to. Because I have a degree in game development, so they were like, oh yeah, we could put you in like for QA. And they're like, what do you want to do first? And I was like, I guess I'll just do the marketing one first. Because I thought like, I'll probably just become a developer. I'll just do marketing just to see. But then I ended up staying in that because they offered me ice cream. They didn't offer me ice cream, but I'm telling Mr. Ice Cream, can you stop spamming the chat? Ugh, and annoyingly I can't. There you go. 5 minutes for being bold. Put you in a timeout for being bold. Anyways, they didn't offer me ice cream, although they did have ice cream there. After 6 months, they offered me full time, and the pay was really bad for an intern. It's like 16 grand for the year, and my rent was like 12 grand for the year. So, kind of just ended up taking the full time position. So I was just in marketing, and I worked as a community manager basically, but not really a traditional community manager. I really just made videos, and then I became a content producer when they sort of overhauled the marketing department to focus more on like making videos and making content, because it was doing well for them, I guess. So they were like, okay, let's just do this now. And yeah, then just towards the end I became a senior and I hired up a couple people and had a little team on the go, but I was just really fed up and sick of it, so I just didn't stay there. Ice Cream Wednesday. 2013 to 2023, all in QA. I'm sure we probably met. Especially when, I don't know if you remember, if you're on the Total War side of things anyway, in that building, the marketing team was down in the QA room for like 6 months or something when they were renovating one of the floors, I remember. We were down there. I feel quite bad, actually. I can't remember the name of the QA lead. But he was a legend. So I remember he was really, really nice about giving me a position and stuff with him, and he was quite disappointed when I stayed on with marketing. But he was really nice. Anyway, 1K a month for rent, those are the days. Well, my rent is actually not much higher than it was then, and I live in the same place. Not the exact same, I live in the same like town, but not the same place. It was 1,075 then. My rent now is 1,275. And they're both for 2-bedroom apartments in roughly the same place. But my rent is about 200 lower than it probably should be. My neighbors have their rent's 1,400. But I have a good landlord at the moment. We've been with him for a while, so he's like, okay. He raised it once and he was like, look, I've got a mortgage to pay. And I'm like, yeah, I know, I'm helping you pay it. So I understand that his mortgage went up, I guess. But I just thought it was awesome that he actually said it to me. He's like, hey, I gotta raise the rent because my bill went up. And I was like, okay. But generally speaking, he's quite nice with not raising it too high anyway. But I'm sure he'll raise it as soon as we leave to whoever new comes in, you know? Alright, let's get rid of that one. I guess I don't need that either. Let's just clear this out. Probably meant I was a senior QA lead for Total War towards the end. Started on the console team for Alien. Right. Yeah, I wasn't very much over in the well, I guess you guys were upstairs originally, but when you got your own building, I wasn't over there very often, but a couple times I was for Halo Wars. I helped with I mock reviewed it. I think I actually upset people over there because I gave it a 6.7 as a mock review. They asked me to review it. It's not like I just did that, but I was like, here's what I think it will get. And I was supposed to go over for a second play session for something a little later. And then they just said, no, that's okay. You don't have to come over. It's like, oh, okay. So I don't know if I offended anyone or what, but I just wrote what I thought it would get. And I think it got exactly that. So I actually kind of felt like somewhat smugly justified. Not that I wanted it to get a mid to low score, but I guess I felt it would. But shout out to Alien, though. What a game. What a super high quality game. Another reason I was over there was when I was in that boardroom and they were discussing like how they were gonna do hyenas, and it was probably the most soul crushing thing I've ever sat through. Just hearing their pitch for it. It's just literally like, hey, we want to do like Overwatch and Destiny and PUBG and Tarkov and one other game, and we've got 5 years to do it. It's great. Just secured a huge budget. It's gonna be great. It's like, okay, that's how you decide how you make games, is it? You just you list 5 of the most popular games and give yourself like 5 years to try and see if you can do it, and then it got cancelled like on the 6th year of development. Like, fucking hell, man. Can't imagine working for something for like 3, 4, 5 years if you're there the whole time and then just never came out. Can't even like be credited properly on it. Sucks. Was the QA lead on Halo Wars as well? Oh, really? Yeah, I think I tested it on console, not on PC. Well, I didn't test it. I was the mock reviewer. They put me in a little room on my own to play it. I remember... Well, anyway, yeah, it doesn't matter, but yeah. Hey, you guys had it good over in that building, though. That building was nice. It was like brand new building. All like, I don't know, it just felt like way more modern and everything. With all the accoutrements. You guys had your big fancy budget for hyenas. Set for 5 years. There's a bit of I remember there was a lot of jealousy actually with Total War at that time, because it was like, oh, they gotta like crank out a game every year, and then these guys get to just like make the these guys, no offense, released Halo Wars 2, which didn't do that well, and they just get a budget, a blank slate, you know, a blank check, new building. They get all the benefits. Alright, are we almost done? This is almost done. Just these two left to empty out, and then that's it. Oh, there's some crates. Where are these crates? Oh, they might be downstairs. Well, I'm standing right on it, and it's not above me, so it's gotta be here. What the hell? Not down on the floor in the water, is it? Oh, it is. Oh, weird. Forgot about down here, actually. Damn. I didn't work on hyenas, and I wasn't in the new building. Above Wilco's? No. The new building, Spartan House. The one that's across from... Like, it's not above anything. They have a building above Wilco's? I didn't even know that. They were trying to be everything that was popular at the time they were coming up with, not thinking about what would be popular next. Yeah, that's what I just find so crazy. It's like, I mean, they knew. I remember it was like... We've secured like a really big budget to do work on this for 5 years and build a team and everything. It's like, okay, so you know it's going to take 5 years. Like, do you really think this is still going to be like as popular in 5 years? Like, don't you understand? Like, I don't know how you don't understand that. I understand like trying to figure out where things are going and Sega wanting to do a bigger game or whatever, but it just feels weird that I was the one in the room to know that that wasn't going to work. Surely the other people in the room knew as well? I don't know. Maybe I'm just really cynical and I just happen to be right, but they would argue that, well, they could have been right, you know? So, I don't know. Oh, they had 3 in the end, did they? Oh, they never had the I didn't know that about Wilco's. I still live near Horsham, just outside of it, so I'll have to keep an eye out there. That's crazy. Obviously, they must have... Well, I guess now they don't need it. Yeah, I know where that is, yeah. Across from the old... It's not there anymore, but it used to be the ripped ball. Ripped tennis ball. They got rid of that statue. Sorry, this means nothing to a lot of people. Anyways, were they trying to imitate the mechanics, or just the whole game? Oh, well, it was just kind of a pitch they'd already decided at that point. It was just like, here's what we're gonna do. It was very early, so it was like... what are the inspirations for the game? Well, our inspirations for the game are, and it was just a big slide that said PUBG, Overwatch, Tarkov, Destiny, and one of the game. And it was originally pitched as like, oh, this is going to be a space station above a broken Earth where billionaires keep valuables in like this space station. They keep the valuables, like the artifacts that are from Earth. So Earth is destroyed, and it's like a tourist attraction. And these like wealthy billionaires or whatever have like a space station nearby, and a lot of their valuables and artifacts are kept there. And it's an extraction game where the hyenas will go in and steal these valuables out of these like guarded vaults. That was the concept for the game. And initially I remember thinking like, all right, you know, I hadn't heard of that kind of idea before. Stealing robbing from vaults and stuff in space stations. I was like, this could be cool. Oh yeah, and the whole thing was like, there'll be like 0G fights and stuff. It's like, okay. fine. The bit that was just more disappointing was we're just going to try and be like these games, and they just list them. It's like, oh, that was like a little like disappointing to see and hear. But I remember the concept art and stuff, and some of the more nuanced ideas were like, this could be good, sure. But then I think after I left, it was very gritty initially. When I saw the concept art, it was like supposed to be all like kind of dark and real, not dark and realistic, but it was definitely more realistic and grounded when I saw it. And then obviously somewhere along the way, it became like a stylized hero shooter type thing. That wasn't really mentioned when I'd seen it, or when they were talking about it. It was I was there they started work on it soon, just right before I left, so it's not like I ever saw and played it or anything. It was just concept phase, really. But yeah, anyway, that's just how it went down. Those Space Great Britain's museums. Ever knew the backstory? Sorry for, oh no, you don't have to be sorry at all. The council's moving into that building, damn. Yeah, I'm still friends with some people there. Oh, I should mention, Deegan, I left on good terms, but then I soured the relationship really badly, because 2 days after I left, I went to do YouTube and I streamed, and I basically just ranted about like all the problems the company has, and I didn't mean to. And it's water under the bridge now, I guess. I think it's fine, but at the time it was like a real big deal. It's like, holy shit, 2 days after this person quit, they like aired their dirty laundry on a live stream, and Sega were like sending me messages, and Sierra were sending me messages, and I didn't break any NDAs, but I was like as close as possible as you could probably get to it, and also just not talking about them very favorably, because I was, you know, fresh wound. I love that company, they make my favorite games, so I was quite disappointed with certain things. I'd worked at another company before, so I understood what goes on, but it was just a bit of another level when I was there. And even though everyone there is really nice, and I actually kind of thought like, yeah, like I'm, in a way, you know, developers complain a lot internally about the state of things. A lot. So I kind of thought like, I'll be a little voice for these guys on the outside. A little bit. But I quickly learned that it came off more as insulting their work, and you don't, you know, they're the team. They can complain to each other, and inside, that's one thing, but you don't go out and say, oh, we don't have enough time to do our animations or all this stuff. You know, you don't air that stuff, so I quickly became an enemy of a lot of people there. And for a long time, I considered moving because it was really awkward running into people. A lot of people were very mean to me, basically, when I had left, after I'd left. And, would say mean things to me when I passed them by on the streets of Horsham, because of course Horsham is just full of CA people. So it was a little awkward, and then I had some people who remained my friend on the inside. A few people were telling me like, yeah, there's like a photo of you up where there's like a crosshair on your face, and it's just like on the wall. And I was like, oh, well, that's cool. And they took a photo of it, and I remember thinking like, I could do something with that if I really wanted to, but I was like, no, I think I've press enough buttons. Let's just, I'm sure it's just a joke. It'll be taken down. But apparently it was there for a year. And then someone did take it down. So shout out to them. But anyways, yeah. So I must admit, I didn't handle it well when I left. And they had every right to feel slighted by me. But I still have some friends there now. And I think it's probably, most people who I think I did annoy have long left now as well. But I thought I was kind of championing, you know, I basically just wanted more everyone there to have more dev time. That's all I want. I never complained about the quality of anyone's individual work. Or if I did, I would always say like they needed more time with it, not that they are bad at their job. Because, yeah, some people specifically were like, oh, you shit on the animations. I'm like, that's because I know that it's not the animation quality. Quality's great, I think. I don't have the eye for that. I wouldn't even begin to comment on the quality of someone's animation. I can barely draw a stick figure, let alone animate one. But it was more like the engine that the game is in doesn't really allow for single entity combat to match up very well, and it can be really janky looking. And they don't really have the time to prioritize improving that. So that's where some of that maybe got lost in translation. Anyways, I never saw a face anywhere. Yeah, it was mostly just next to like some desks. So it's not like it was out front and center or on the way in or anything. I've seen the picture. A friend of mine sent me it. I actually still have it. And the thing that scared me was the person that drew or put it up, I had never met before. They were an animator. And I'd met most people there, I thought anyway, because they're not that big of a company. You meet most people on the floor anyway, that you work with. And my friend was like, yeah, the kind of slightly uncomfortable thing is that he's like a real quiet person. So if anyone was to do anything, it might be him. And I was like, oh, that's good. But it was fine. It was obviously jokes. It was all good. Alright, that took ages. That took, what, nearly 3 hours? No, 2.5. But that is the factory now, completely torn down in a respectable and safe way. I'm going to delete a lot of this inventory and then we'll get rid of that last bit up there. And then that's it. Place is demolished. Did I clear all the belts downstairs? I cleared most of them, right? Yeah. Good. Nice blank slate of foundations to work and build a new factory on now. And then I'll sort out all these crates myself, figure out what I want to keep and what I want to get rid of. Mostly just building material like crystal oscillators I want to keep. What time is it? Yeah, I'll have to wrap up in a moment. Actually, I don't have motors, so I'll keep... I don't have a motor factory, I mean, so I'll keep those motors. But that's basically it, yeah. Alright. Get rid of these last buildings and then we can say we're properly done, and the poles. That sounds like a bit drastic. I think, you know, to me, I read it as a joke. It's like, oh, that's funny. Someone put me, you know, printed me out with a crosshair on my head. But it became a little less funny when they said he was actually a real quiet person who doesn't talk very much and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. But they just put that up and they didn't even say anything to anyone. That's a bit strange. It's not like, oh, you know, throw a dart in my head just for the memes. But yeah, anyway. How much longer is this going to take? Let's make another one of these. Just threw away those things. Unfortunately, I just have to stand here and wait for this to drain. Otherwise, it'd be very unsatisfying to just leave another crate there. Stagers, do I need them? No, not really. Well, I can think through what we're going to do in the next episode. So yeah, let's have a look at the versatile... Oh yeah, I had opened up Milano to see how much I make in that steel factory. Steel foundry. Anyway, long story short, since then, I've matured a lot. And what's Sumo? Sumo Digital is a games company. Is what I assumed they're referring to. I left on good terms. I'm still in good terms, I hope. That's good. Yeah. I'm a little behind. TW? That's Total War. We were just talking about Total War because I used to work there. Hey Darren, I know this isn't related to the current conversation, but where did the parts factory go? I could have sworn it was right here. Oh, I mean, that's what this stream was. It was me tearing it down. So yeah, the parts factory is now gone because it's not really needed. So the parts factory, I now make computers and heavy modular frames in the silicon factory. I was just trying to think if that needs a different name now that it makes other things, because it's also going to make adaptive control units. But it's fine. It's the silicon factory. It makes computers, circuit boards, so those are silicon-based products. And then heavy modular frames. And it takes some things in from the copper and deuterium factory. And we now have far less trucks milling about as well, which is kind of nice. A bit more controlled that way. Yeah, so while that's emptying, so the steel foundry that I built is quite a small factory. It doesn't make things in very high volume, but here's what it makes. 20 pipe per minute, 30 beam per minute, and 7.5 encased industrial beam per minute. Okay, so it's quite low numbers. But that's now freed up, right? That's just that building over there. So to make versatile frameworks, if I just delivered modular frames to that factory and then combined it with the 30 we make, I'd be making 5 versatile framework per minute. I need 2,500, so 2,500 divided by 5 is 500 minutes. 500 minutes divided by an hour, it would take 8 hours. But that's actually not a bad amount. That does sound like a long time, actually. But I have steel in reserve, so I could always boost it. I'll probably just do that. And that will make everything I need. Because it's probably going to take about 4, 5, 6, maybe 8 hours to make what I need in the silicon factory. So as long as I set that up first and then work on the other stuff, it should all roughly get done around the same time. That's the plan anyway. I'm just waiting on this to empty out so I can clear this last little bit here. It'll go pretty quick once we get past the stator. I would just build another one, but I don't even have reinforced iron plates with me right now, so I can't make another one. So just wait. Just wait a minute. Hey, Ricoto. And Ekelund. The man, hope all's good. What's best, train or drones? I would say definitely trains. Because drones require batteries to operate, whereas trains don't, and they're just very high volume. Drones, to me, don't seem very efficient at moving anything, to be quite honest. But they're good for getting things from hard-to-reach places somewhere else. So to me, a drone is perfect to do stuff like moving anything to do with anything you don't make in very high volume. Or stuff like uranium. Things that could be radioactive. So if you make, let's say you make 20 computers per minute, that's quite low volume. But for computers, it's a decent amount. So a drone would work well for something like that. But if you're shipping 1,000 ingots per minute or something like that, obviously a train is the way to go. I do have other things over by the steel factory. I know. I would have to then take well, now I can take things out. It's okay. It's almost done. Are they finally going to do something with that Southwestern Island in the 1.0 release? No. They said they're... Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. I could be wrong. I thought they said that no, that they're not going to do anything, but maybe they've changed their minds on that. Because it was called Paradise Island, and then it was like, oh, they'll do something there. But then they locked it off, boundary-wise, and they said, pretty sure, that they're not doing anything with it. But the fact that they locked it off makes you think that, well, obviously they will do something with it then for 1.0. But they haven't confirmed it either way, so I guess we don't know. For sure. Alright, I'll take those two. And that's it. We are done. Alright, that's it. That's it for this place. Let's get rid of those poles as well, I guess. And yeah, that should be a lot of the trucks, I hope, are now stopped. I'm just going to quickly hop into this one and see. All the PF routes need to be removed. So rubber in case, yeah, these ones can go. Well, I want to head, I'm pretty much done actually. So yeah, just a little bit longer, like 10 more minutes or something. My cat is here. I'm talking to my cat about that. Delete this one, and then delete this one. Alright, cool. No more of those exist. Alright, GG. Are you going to expand the rail... I don't even have a rail system in this game yet. So the plan for my railway in this save file is in that location right there. That's going to be what I call a transport hub. So the bottom layer is going to be many different truck stations receiving everything. So for instance, any of the factories in this local area that make something is going to go there. So the iron factory makes, you know, rotors, reinforced iron plates, regular iron plates, and modular frames or something like that. I can't remember. All of that's going to go into that factory. And then up above it is going to be a train station that then ships it across the world. So that's the idea. So a transport hub needs a lot of truck stations for import and a lot of truck stations for export. Because the trains don't... There's not going to be any trains that go directly into factories except extremely big factories like that one. But for the most part, I'm not going to be delivering in stuff directly into other factories. My rail network is going to be really simple because of this. But I'll have loads of trucks. That's the trade-off. I like trucks, though. Some people don't. So my rail network is really just going to be like these long trains that carry stuff vast distances. But that's it. They're not going to be doing much else. Yeah, so my first implementation of what I'm calling this transport hub was actually made in my original series, the first series I did. That's where I got the idea for this, and I was like, oh, this could work very well. So the bottom floor is just like all trucks. Middle floor is all trains. Top floor, drones. But I don't have drones yet, so it'll just be trains. So the train line is going to be really high off the ground. But it should be actually really consistent almost everywhere it goes. It shouldn't have to go up or down. It'll just be quite high. And by the way, everyone can download this save file after I'm done. It'll appear a little bit later in the Google Drive. So whatdarrenplays.com/satisfactory. All my blueprints, all my save files, every episode's individual save files there. So you can actually pick the one you want to start from if you wanted to. Realize something. Oh no, that's done on purpose, yeah. Just park up. Is there only one map? Yeah, there's only one map. Let's go this way. I love your use of trucks. It certainly improved my use of them. I haven't had any blocks when following your method. Although I do have the drive on the correct side of the road. That's good. Well, that's good to hear, yeah, because a lot of people are like... that's the most common thing I get when people talk about trucks is like, they say, oh, the behavior's so crazy and I always get deadlocks. I'm like, I don't get any deadlocks. Ever. Never happens. I think one time it actually did pop up on screen that I had a deadlock, but it resolved itself, which I also didn't even know was possible. And I think it was here, outside the copper Caterium factory, where it can get quite busy because there's trucks lined up. But as you can see, they wait behind each other. And then as long as you're on the right side of the road, I don't see how they'd ever collide. They have to hit head on for a deadlock. If one T-bones the other, it's not a deadlock. They'll recorrect. So I find it really difficult to make deadlocks happen, but I don't know. It could be frame rate related maybe, because I'm just wondering, like, why are so many people telling me that it's not working for them? I wonder, I guess if it was frame rate related, they could load up my save and see does it work for them on my save. It obviously just works for me. Because I remember seeing that in comments, people were like, are you literally just telling people, well, it works on my machine? I'm like, unfortunately, kind of. Like, I don't have enough information to know why it's not working for anyone else. I'd have to look at their save and see, are they, like, driving really badly or something? That would maybe tell me. Why did I come up here? Oh, yeah, no, I meant to actually go to... Yeah, so this is where I make computers, right? And the heavy modular frames are just further down. So that's the computers, and then just over there is the circuit boards. Circuit boards are rolling along into computers, but not all of them are being consumed. Some of them just go into this, so we have an excess. Go in here. And we'll have even more when we get the next belt upgrade. But yeah, this is working well. So the reason all these machines are off, of course, is just because once we get the next upgrade for the belts, we can feed them all. As simple as that. The other reason I came up this way was because I can now get rid of these truck stations. They're not needed here anymore either. They were temporary to feed the parts factory. A lot of my factories can look a bit more elegant again. Get rid of some stuff for a moment. Tear that down as well. You can go, you can go, you can go. Why have I... Oh, yeah. Oh, damn. Ugh. Set up another awesome sink. Gonna be doing a lot of recycling in between episodes to get rid of all this crap. I forgot that these were full. Oh, they made it to the live stream. You've actually just made it to the end. We're wrapping up in a couple of minutes. But again, I just want to say thanks for the support on this one. A few memberships, a few super chats, so I do appreciate it. Especially for an impromptu random stream like this, so thank you. Alright, good. Nice. As long as I'm not leaving too many crates behind. This doesn't get power from here, does it? No. Cool. Alright. Load up those containers. Then I'll just feed them into an awesome sink, get rid of some of this stuff. And then I need to add lights and stuff into this factory because I'm going to be going into it in the next episode and adding stators in there. So I want it to look a bit nicer on the inside. I thought maybe we'd have time for that today, but I don't. Next edited episode, I'm aiming for Sunday, so it should be Sunday. Every Sunday I'm trying to get one out. I've hit the last 3 in a row, I think. Oh, actually one of them was a stream. But yeah, this stream doesn't replace an episode. This is just supplemental. So it shouldn't replace anything. This is just some of the prep work I needed to do before the next episode could be done. The next one's going to be kind of weird. It's making stators, automated wiring, adaptive control units, and versatile frameworks. I say weird because those are all space elevator parts, apart from these stators. And the space elevator parts don't need to be kind of made like infinitely. I can kind of just make the amount I need and then turn off those machines, which is probably what I'll do. Is that it? Didn't leave any crates behind. Cool, so that area's done as well. So, yeah, with the road going straight into that factory, yeah, I'll probably reshape or redesign these roads just a little bit here. But other than that, that's basically it. Need to go up to those floors now and change what's going on there. But yeah, this is why I need to add more lighting into this place. It's very dark, depending where you go. Just take off my shoes. Yeah, it's like pitch black in the power floor. What's that called? Maintenance, yeah. Logistics. Quite dark on this side of things, but this is where all my quick wire and my AI limiters were, you know, lazily making their way out that way. So that just needs to be everything from here, like this line, needs to be updated. And the same with there. So the outputs need to be fixed, and then I need to put lights in so we can see inside here a bit better. But there's lots of room for stuff, and upstairs is going to be the we're underneath where train stations are going to be, so we're going to be feeding trains from here. At the moment, this is where the quick wire and the copper sheets is rolling out, some of it anyway. We make 7,000 quick wire per minute here. Now this factory is connecting into the silicon factory. I'll have to put a roof on this bad boy. Because I'm curious, what is the next major build you plan on doing? I actually don't know. In terms of major builds, so I'm just looking up the to-do screen right now. The stators is just a modify. All of these are just modifications to existing factories. But then I actually unlock the next milestones, but I can't remember what you get. So I actually just don't remember what's next. I know aluminum, I guess, would probably be the next big one, right? Once we get this, we want to work towards getting Mark V belts. So aluminum will probably be the next big factory. I'll have multiple videos. So sad. So sad. Well, yeah, so I added the assemblers, or I keep calling these assemblers, awesome sinks, back in to keep our factory running, consuming all of the silica that we make in excess. Only one line of silica at the moment actually goes anywhere and does anything, which is this one, which goes upstairs to be made into circuit boards. This is where we just added the modular frames in the last episode. And then this is not running right now because it's short on concrete. We need to improve the belts in order to get more heavy modular frames running. It's just concrete that they're short on. it'd either require me turning off some of the silicon machines, which is fine, or just turning off the assemblers. But awesome things, damn. And then this runs totally fine. But for now, I've actually just filled a container of heavy modular frames anyway, so I don't need to do that. But obviously the goal is to run all factories at 100%, so to do that, I just need to get Mark V belts. Once I get a Mark V belt, then this place will run just fine. But yeah, until then, we're a little slowed down because of how the overflow system is working down here. More needs to overflow, basically. You're not in the right place. Alright, I think that's going to have to be it for today. Just wanted to have a quick look at this factory and make sure everything was going okay. Hey, Ancient Hero. Yeah, unfortunately I'm just wrapping up. So it's going to have to be it. I played for 2 months, almost beat the game. I stopped now, waiting for September's release. Going to build a clean, big factory. Nice. Can't stay, sadly. Hello and goodbye. See you later, Ethan. I'm still looking 4 days before 1.0 is my birthday. Yeah, what is it? Is it September 10th? My birthday's 6 days later. I'm only in Crawley, not far away. Yeah, I live right next to Crawley. I live between Crawley and Horsham. Not to dox myself, but that's basically where I'm at. Alright, that's going to have to be it for me. So, oh, sorry, hang on. Just because I'm curious, what's the next major... Oh, I read that already, yeah. So, I think it'll be aluminum. So the next one is stators, automated wiring, adaptive control units, and the versatile framework. So the space elevator parts. And then the one after that is probably going to be a motor factory, and then possibly a crystal oscillator factory. Then it's straight up just aluminum, getting what we can to get aluminum working. So yeah, that's gonna have to be it. So thanks for everyone hanging out with me. Very random little quick stream that I didn't really let people know about. So appreciate everyone hanging out with me short notice, last minute, and giving me some tips and advice as usual. And yeah, so I'm aiming for an episode on Sunday. Hopefully back with regular programming after this. This is just like a supplemental stream. All right, take it easy. Goodbye.